this week we sat down and watched nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad and scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad and scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Hey, what's up, Moon Goons? Welcome to Horrible Horror, the podcast where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Mr. Marshall Hampton. Joining me as always is my buddy, my co-host, Mr. Aaron Southworth. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I am pretty good.
Awesome.
Sleep deprived.
We will talk about that in a second.
But
Yes.
pretty good.
Yes. As you know, last week Aaron was not here, but he is back now. And as you got from the intro, normally we always come in with a movie prepared, but this week we watched absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stupid. You so stupid.
Because we put this out several back in before Christmas. We put out we were putting a call out for all of our listeners to send us any questions you had for us. We got horror movie related or anything you wanted to ask us, and we were thinking about doing a Q&A. Well, we got a lot more questions than I thought we would.
I'm glad. Hey,
I'm glad too.
People are interested. Thank you so
thank
much,
you
Moon Goons. All you guys that submitted questions, really appreciate it. That's very, 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 very cool.
So that is what we're doing this week. We're doing the listener Moon Goon Q&A episode because Aaron has had a very stressful, long week, and he needed a break.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And that's based because, well, Aaron, go ahead.
I had a baby girl.
That's right. He
So
did.
yeah, Tuesday 2 weeks ago, I was working from home. I get a phone call from my wife who was at her doctor appointment. Said, "Hey, they're sending me to the hospital right now and inducing labor. Our baby was, according to them, far, far, far too small." So we went to the hospital. She was induced and went through labor for about 20 hours. When she was getting the epidural, it dropped her blood pressure down considerably, and they couldn't find my baby's heart rate. Oh shit, they're killing my baby and my wife at the same time. My nightmare came true. But everyone rushed in. There was a big alarm. They rushed her into the OR, and within 3 minutes, I'm not kidding, the baby was out on the side. They were working on her. No screams. She looked pretty bad. Had to spend about a week in the NICU, but she's strong. She passed all the tests. She's at home. Baby Everly Ruth Southworth is here with us, Moon Goons. Boom!
Boom.
And guess what birthday she has?
Oh man, I don't know.
I think you should know this one.
You know what? I think I should because I believe it is my birthday. Right? It's January 8th, 2020 for you, but yeah, born on my birthday.
Exactly 40 years apart.
Exactly 4 years. So that is insane cosmic.
That's really kind of like...
That's just insane.
Hey, buddy, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, hey, what time? Do you know what time you were born?
I was born, I think, 1:23 or something like that.
AM, PM?
PM.
Okay, she was 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
So almost exactly. Just like an hour and a half, 2 hours off.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That is insane. So we're gonna take this week and answer your Q&As, and we'll be back with the regular full episode next week.
Because I haven't slept.
Yeah. I already got the movie picked out and ready to go. So that'll be next week. For now, sit back and enjoy we're going to answer. If you send it in, it's getting answered. So we're going to answer every single question that was sent to us.
And if you guys like it, if we get a good response, if you guys had, let us know if it was good, we might do it again in a couple months or something.
And we're not, these are not in no particular order, and we're answering to the best of our ability. I'm sorry if some of the answers may suck if we're not 100%, as detailed, but we'll do it the best we can. All right. First question from Holly Kins 88. She asked, out of the movies you've done on the podcast that don't have sequels, what one would you want to see a sequel of?
Well, what would you want to do?
Something's banging up above the studio here. That's going to drive me. Hopefully that's not being picked up on the audio. I'll tell you right off the bat, the one I want to see, and I thought maybe it was just a rumor or somebody joking around online, but right now I would love to see a Knucklebones sequel.
Yes.
I think
yes.
that's a great one. That was, I think, a great
Knucklebones,
storyline that could become a nice, fun franchise.
the wisecracking demon who gets summoned to do the bidding of the person who summons him, had a Nazi kind of upbringing in a weird way.
Killed a bunch of Nazis.
Killed a bunch of Nazis, so
Yes.
it was okay in my book. And there were some smoking hot chicks in that movie as well.
A gorgeous cast.
And a very good low-budget movie, so that's a good one. I like that one. Mine, I got a couple different ones here.
Okay, go ahead.
And you know it's funny because when I'm writing them down, I'm like, oh wait, it is getting a sequel. Pool Party Massacre.
Yeah.
Pool Party Massacre left you with a cliffhanger. With
So that's why because we knew that.
I don't know, but it still hasn't come out yet. But Pool Party
Yeah.
Massacre, there's the killer's still alive. You see him on the balcony. Spoiler alert. But as you know, the final girl's walking away, and I'm like, it's just primed for a sequel. And there hasn't been a sequel yet until he just launched an Indiegogo not too long ago. We invested in that, so hopefully we'll have a fun little Easter egg in the movie from Horrible Horror Podcast.
Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah, we're hoping.
Yeah, so
I'm
it's
trying to think
kind
if
of
there's
neat. Another
anything
one
else.
I was thinking was Night of Something Strange.
Yeah, I believe I've heard rumors again that there's supposed to be a sequel of that
Really?
too. I've heard again. I haven't followed up on it, but I've heard that there is supposed to be a sequel for that coming.
Because there can still be a lot of fun done with that. I mean, those type of post-apocalyptic worlds, you can run. And it was such a crazy, bonkers movie. It'd be hard to turn up the volume on it because, god damn, they cranked it to 11 and yanked off the knob.
Yeah, that would be a pretty.
That's a tough one to follow. That's a tough act to follow.
Exactly, that might be the case. Just let it lie.
Yeah.
Because the chance of you be able to top what you did that is going to be very hard. So very high chance of a letdown sequel instead of taking it up. It's going to be
Another one I was excited about, but again, is getting a sequel, and we've talked about it, is Don't Fuck in the Woods.
Yes.
Because they have that, again, kind of cliffhanger or, little nugget in the credits of Mac waking up, after he was killed, he was gutted, he was killed, the bulimic monster threw up on him, and all of a sudden he opened his eyes again, they were black, to kind of give you an idea, there could be another creature. Mac as a monster, if he still keeps his attitude and his kind of funny one-liners and like the way he does it, Roman Jossard was the guy who played him, that would be fantastic. That'd be really great, because he was such a fantastic character in Don't Fuck in the Woods. If they have him in the second one as the monster, but still kind of just as funny and witty and, kind of just chewing up the scenery, that'd be great. I
would doubt that would be the case, but those are some pretty good ones that I would like to see sequels for, or we'd like to see sequels. What about now again, they set it up at the post-credit scene, they set up the sequel, and it's been 4 or 5 years, so I'm guessing nothing's coming, but Zombievers.
Yes,
that was a fun one.
Yes, that was pretty fun. Again, I kind of think that falls under one and done. It's good, just let it lie. But they did have that little, when they're escaping, you see all the different animals taking on the beaver virus, and becoming beaver versions of a bear, beaver versions of like of humans and like other animals. But at the very end, you see bees.
Yeah, the bees.
The bees are getting like buck teeth and stuff, which is so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
I'm still going through. I'm going through our episode list right now, and just seeing, think if there's anything else that would be.
And again, this is off the top of my head.
I'm just kind of looking through. Like a lot of things, don't really need it, or we've already done sequels for. And we could make joke ones like, there should be a sequel for the 13th Friday, and fuck that,
bite your tongue.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think those off the top of our head, those are definitely ones I think I would like to see a sequel. Respect, definitely Knucklebones for me. And
that's a good one. I kind of like that. Yeah. I kind of want to piggyback off that. That's a good one to have a sequel to. So, Hollykins88, thank you.
Yes. Okay, from Scotty Slasher, what's one of the wackiest scenes that you've seen in a film?
Man, there's been a lot.
This is so hard. Some of these are going to be really hard to answer because we've seen so many crazy, bonkers, just wacky shit that it's like my brain can only store so much of it, and like I see something, and something else might get pushed out to replace
right,
it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm sure I'm going to forget something.
Some of the scenes we've seen are so bananas.
Yeah.
That it's just you can't wrap your head around it. But I came up with two.
Okay.
All right, two of them. The first one was Poultrygeist. the murder montage, the killing scene when they're just killing people over and over in the restaurant.
Yes.
All these different like zombie / chicken monsters bashing people's heads open, and an egg comes out and frying it on a skillet, ripping out their implants and eating it. That's like someone's eating. It's like, oh, the skin. I know the skin's bad for me, but it's so good. Yeah. Tearing off people's face, putting another guy's face through a meat grinder. I mean, god damn. And it's just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit of great, fantastic kills.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like clutching the side of your seat like, holy shit. That's an insane scene. That whole movie is pretty damn insane. The other one that comes to mind is Night of Something Strange, the Vajlac Pit. So
yes, the Vajlac Pit.
That's a scene where Dirk, our hero, is fighting a zombie which shoots out kind of a tentacle out of a dead girl's vagina, wraps around his neck and starts pulling in towards him, and the pussy basically opens up and it's got teeth and it goes, fuck me. And I'm just like, ah! So those are two off the top of my head. And I'm sure there's some other good honorable mentions, but those are the two that I came up with.
Okay, the Poltergeist one for sure is on my list as well. That scene was incredible.
It's so good.
It's so amazing. It's just, there's so much going on. Like, you could watch it 3 or 4 or 5 times and see something different every time.
Something in the background, something going on. And that's like one of the only movies Lloyd Kaufman lost money on because it was a passion project of his.
Yeah. Something else. One scene. Okay. A muck train had an absolutely just banana scene where it's a little drawn out, and it's not as, I mean, trying to find the description of you with the Poltergeist is, I might not be able to do it justice, but a muck train, there's a scene where it's like the second or third time the train goes off the tracks, and it's running through like the countryside, and then it plows into like a swampy, like swamp lake area. So now it's plowing through water, and inside the train car are cast of characters, and in slow motion, they're just flopping around everywhere.
Getting thrown through the air. I think a radio explodes.
But that's the thing, that's at the end. But during it, the radio comes on, and it's playing classical music. And then the train plows ahead. It plows into this couple that's in a rowboat on the water, decapitates one girl's head, which goes flying
through the air.
Right through there. Then the train keeps going. It gets back on the tracks. One of the guys in the train track, the slow motion screaming face he makes, I said on the show, looks like someone put his dick in a mouse trap because it's hilarious. And it's, like I said, all this is going on. There's sparks flying, and people are flying around and screaming. There's blood everywhere, and there's this classical music going. And then right at the end, when the radio for no reason just blows up and explodes, and I'm like, that sequence that one always stuck out as being pretty insane.
Yeah, and it's like that movie you just mentioned is fantastic. It's like that one just kind of fell off my radar, I guess, when I was looking at this stuff. But you're right. There's also that scene where I forget the main character's name, Catherine or something.
I don't even remember her name.
Let's just say Catherine.
Yeah.
And she's arguing with the voice in her head, and she's like, I know I'm dreaming. I'll prove to you you're not dreaming.
Oh, yeah.
And it pans over to this woman, this albino woman with a shaved head with like alopecia.
Yes!
And then she gives birth to like a dragon, and with a bloody mouth, she goes, Catherine, I'm your mom. What the fuck?
Yeah, she was like bald, kind of look. Yeah, I remember that.
Like albino, it was bonkers. I'm like, oh, that's proof that you're not dreaming?
That's even more proof that you are dreaming. Yeah, that one's insane.
Yeah, the Muck Train had some crazy
Another one
shit.
had some crazy shit was Life Force. There was some really crazy shit in that one too, with like all the exploding lightning, and then the
bleeding out the face with the car, like Patrick Stewart, and it coagulates and forms the bloody naked alien.
In the helicopter, and
she screams and turns into a big puddle of blood.
Yeah,
damn.
I'm looking. I'm trying to scroll through our movie list here of everything we've done, trying to think of any of these will spark any kind of more.
Humanoids from the Deep. The final scene in that is pretty fun.
Yeah, Aaron likes that one.
It's not so much wacky, but it's fun because it's guys in rubber suits like tearing the tops off of girls with bikinis and like throwing. Well, they did throw a man on fire past a child. Like I was like, holy shit. OSHA would be pissed. Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to drag this on too long.
But yeah, those were good.
But I mean, there are some great. Yeah, those are some of our definitely more memorable scenes from movies we've done. Okay, from Milo Pantone, what are your favorite / least favorite wrestlers ever?
Completely unmovie
This
related.
Could go on. We could do a whole podcast on this alone, Milo. God damn. Okay, favorites. Jesus Christ.
You want me to kick it off?
Most of them are going to be the same, but yeah, go ahead. How many How many are we listing as our favorites?
I just did 4.
4.
Because
okay.
the thing is, it's like I know I'm going to second guess myself and like, oh, what about that guy? Oh, what about that
Yeah.
guy? Oh, what about that guy? But I'm more of an old school guy when it comes to wrestling, and I haven't watched a lot of the new stuff. Not that I don't like it, I just haven't gotten around to it. And I'm actually kind of starting to get a little more interested in it. But with that being said, I like the technicians. I like the guys who can go, and make they can have a good match with a broom. You know, Chris Benoit comes to mind. That guy was fucking amazing. Yes, he killed his family and killed himself. He's a horrible person for that, but that does not take away from his wrestling ability. God damn, was that guy good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I 100% what you said.
One that was also excellent, but very much overrated or underrated, Lance Storm. That's one I have in my back pocket. That guy could, again, wrestle with anybody and make it look good. And he did this fucking...
He just had the personality of a signpost.
That's the problem.
In professional wrestling, that's why he never made it over. Because in the ring, people like him and Dean Malenko, some great fucking wrestlers, amazing. But just when you're in the entertainment business, they couldn't...
That's a big part of it.
Cut a promo with anything. And just
but he used to do they called it the Canadian Maple Leaf, which was just a one-leg Boston Crab.
Yeah.
Not both legs, just a one-legged Boston Crab. Where he'd throw a guy off the ropes, and when they were running at him, he would do a backward somersault as they're running, grab their leg, and roll up and be in that position. And it just blew my mind how smooth and slick he did that. Fuck yeah, Lance Storm was always awesome. Another tactician I like that's just, legit as fuck, Kurt Angle. Mm-hmm. Kurt motherfucking Angle. And that guy could entertain comedy. He could make you love him. He could make you hate him. He had all the bases covered. And doing fucking moonsaults off the top of a cage. Holy shit, was that guy amazing.
Yeah.
That motherfucking Angle.
To this day, that match between Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, and Steel Cage is still one of my all-time favorite matches.
If you're a wrestling fan, find it on YouTube. It is
I don't remember if it was a pay-per-view or just a Raw match, but it was insane. Yeah. It should have been a pay-per-view match if it wasn't. All right, for my favorite ones, God damn, I don't even know how I want to break this. If I want to do old school like Aaron, favorite technicians and all that, Bret Hitman Hart, as a kid, was one of my all-time favorites. People I appreciated more as I got older, but didn't like as a kid, but as I grew to appreciate wrestling, realized how much I loved them. Mr. Perfect was amazing.
Yes.
In the ring.
So good.
So good.
And just, so good.
So those are probably two of my favorites from like the 80s. And then also favorite heels from the 80s. We'll do Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man. I'll always love him.
Yeah, St. Louis area native.
Countsville. And then, all right, but a little more modern favorites, like if you want to go with those. Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle are definitely top of my list. Again, not for what Chris did as a person, but his work in the ring. Kurt Angle. And then, but those are just pure technician points. But as overall entertainers and performers who I just love as a whole package, Triple H has got to be up there.
Really?
Ric Flair. I mean, everything about him, from his in-ring work to promote. I mean, he might be my number best wrestler of all time.
That's a great. And I feel bad because I didn't know anything of that. But at the same time, I've got Ric Flair shirts.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books is "To Be the Man, You Got to Beat the Man," the Ric Flair biography.
Yeah, great story, great book. I have Ric Flair. We all have Ric Flair stuff. Mm-hmm. But then just more, just pure entertainment. The Rock. I mean, that might be a bandwagon, but his promos were. That still give me goosebumps.
Cutting edge, and they're still today.
And Chris Jericho are probably some others. Favorite one. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna go into favorite ones like the modern age, like right now. If you want me to, maybe we'll do that in a future one. But I think those are right now, or overall, those are probably some of my favorite handfuls throughout the eras. Those right there. Let's go with least favorite wrestlers. That was the second part of that question.
Yeah.
So least favorite.
Least favorite ones are the guys who got by on just. It's mostly the guys who either were from WWF that went to WCW and just got by on their laurels, or just on what they did in WWF and just sat on their fat asses afterwards.
Wasn't almost everybody?
Well, just about. Kevin Nash comes to mind. Motherfucker is a great specimen.
Yeah.
So tall, so big, does big man moves, but god damn are his matches boring, and he's not that great on the mic. He's just kind of a jerk. I've seen him in interviews shoot interviews, and he seems like a cool guy, sure. But I never, ever liked that guy as a wrestler. And he always had top billing.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I never really liked him.
Okay.
And another one, for example, Virgil.
Oh, fucking Virgil.
Who was Ted DiBiase's lackey. He became a face.
Bodyguard.
For a little
bit. And then, right. Then he broke off. He became a face for a while. He wore those horrible red and white striped peppermint.
Yeah. Boxing shorts.
They weren't boxing. They were full length pants.
Yeah.
They were red and white striped.
Right,
He looked like a candy striper or a candy cane.
God damn, that was stupid.
Or barber pole.
But he went over to WCW and he landed a contract where he made buku bucks and could just sit there and be the shittiest, worst wrestler. He became a member of the NWO.
Everybody was a member of the NWO by the end, though. Everybody.
So fucking annoyed by him.
Like Sting.
Ugh. God damn, get out of here.
And that's another one we didn't mention was Sting and Ferris. But part of it is because growing up as a kid, I didn't have access to a whole lot of WCW. I very rarely saw any WCW wrestling.
I watched some of it.
I mean, when I could, I would, but I didn't get exposed to Sting until much later.
Yeah.
But anyway,
another one, Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, Jesus. I mean, don't get me wrong. Pretty good in the ring. Physical specimen, but he, everything I've read and looked at before, again, because I went pretty deep with wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
He worked super stiff. He was always a jerk. He was a asshole backstage. Yeah. No one liked him.
I never heard any good things about Steiner.
Nothing.
Ever.
And he's just always been a prick. And the older he gets, I mean, he's a fucking steroid monster.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, at first it was impressive. Now it just looks.
His balls and cock must be the size of raisins and shitlets or something like that by now. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Twig and berries, baby. Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah, it's that guy's always been just a prick. Every once in a while, though, he would do something just so dumb that it would make me laugh.
Yeah.
He'd be like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch! Yelling in someone's face. And it's so random when they just be like, boo.
It's that roid rage coming on, man.
I'm like, holy shit, this guy's off the rails.
There's some great YouTube clips Steiner just losing it. Yeah. Steiner's sound bites are hilarious because he's a fucking moron. He's the epitome of the musclehead.
So that's an example of the ones I don't like.
All right, for me, Ultimate Warrior. I hated Ultimate. Even when he was popular, I never Don't get me wrong. Oh, he comes out. At first, I was like, okay, I kind of like him. But when we were kids, at the time you were a Hogan or Warrior. And I was Hogan at the time. But
I bandwagoned.
I never liked Warrior. To this day, I still don't like because he couldn't wrestle worth a shit. He was just a physical specimen.
Horrible.
His matches were 30 seconds or less because he couldn't work.
And his mic work was insane.
Insane. That's the only good thing about him because his mic work was like the ravings of a lunatic on high on ecstasy or something like
just
that.
On all the mushrooms.
Everything. What is he? I'll take some of what he's having. So Ultimate Warrior. Yeah. Ultimate Warrior didn't like. Oh God, one more favor. I'm sorry. I go back to favorites. But Macho Man, Randy Macho Man Savage.
I had that one written down too. I just didn't mention it just because for time. But I had that one written down.
We could go on and off this.
Yeah.
Okay. Least favorite. Ultimate Warrior. Exactly what you said about Kevin Nash. I didn't like him as Diesel. I wasn't that big fan of him, and I hate him even more as Kevin Nash.
Big Daddy Cool.
Just didn't do anything. Like you said, his matches were boring. He just stood there. He was written as such a dominating force in WCW that, like I said, one chop from him would be like a finishing move almost. He could do no wrong.
He did back elbows. He did big boots, and he did a side slam, and his finisher was every big guy's powerbomb.
Yeah, and it's everything he did. And he was supposed to be this unstoppable machine. I remember watching him in the WCW's version, the Royal Rumble or some 3-wing ring over the top thing, and he eliminated 60 people, and he's horrible. I thought the same way about Scott Hall as he got old, but that was also he was drunk and all sorts, but his work was terrible.
Yeah. When he was sober, he was pretty good.
Yeah, but other people I couldn't stand. Goldberg for the same reason I hated Kevin Nash. He couldn't work. Like he was just built. Like he booked to make him look dominant, and anybody can be booked that way. He couldn't work. He was terrible.
I was thinking about Goldberg, but the reason I didn't put him on there is because he's improved. He tried to get.
He did
better.
try, but I'm saying if you saw that magic, that him and Undertaker,
Yeah,
oh my god,
they're both a little long in the tooth. But
both of them need to be gone.
He
but yeah.
tried. He put forth the effort. So I'm not gonna dog him for just not being that good. He's just not that great, But he tried.
Yeah. Okay.
Kevin Nash didn't fucking try.
No, he didn't try. Other people, Scott Steiner's definitely on my list too. Can't stand him. And we'll throw some modern ones out. I don't like him, but Roman Reigns, modern day, I don't like him at all. I'm sick of him. That could be, I don't know. But
speaking of modern, I've watched a little bit here and there. Bray Wyatt was awesome.
Bray Wyatt is awesome. That
Yeah.
guy is like the second. He is good in the ring, and his promos are amazing.
Yeah, I was really
Like
impressed
even
with
before
him.
it became like this weird, like the Funhouse, Mr. Rogers,
Firefly
Fiend
thing,
guy. His promos as just Bray Wyatt, the head of the Wyatt family, were amazing. Like he gives some awesome promos. He's such a unique character and personality that, yeah, I love Bray Wyatt.
And he's beefy. It makes me feel good. I'm
Yeah,
like, all
he's
right,
not
looks like a beefy guy can make it in this industry. I'm like, all right, if I power lifted, I could probably look like
some
him.
of my favorites from modern, Kevin Owens is one of my favorite modern workers right now. I love Kevin Owens.
I
And
don't
that's
know
not
who
even
that
touching
is.
the women wrestlers. Like I love women's wrestling now.
It's a good point.
Actually, and from what it is now, not the shitty days of the bikini models and the
Bras and panty matches.
yeah, that shit. But like I won't go into that. That's a whole nother question. But
Again, we can go on for days.
all right, moving on. Next question.
Thank you, Milo. Good one.
Actually, next one's up is also from Milo, back to back from him. What is your go-to fast food place, and what do you order from said place?
Okay, just a little background on Milo. Milo is one of our very first fans, very first listeners, and he actually has a YouTube page. So you can find Milo, Milo Pantone on YouTube, and what he does is he does like 2 or 3 videos a week, and he just tries different junk food, fast food, unique food, things like that. Just kind of gives his ratings, his thought. He kind of breaks it down. If you guys look it up, you can find the Horrible Horror 3-part series where we sent him a whole bunch of St. Louis stuff, which is kind of cool. So we like Milo, and we want to support him there. But so that's why the question is geared towards food. And for me, Milo, I'm not a huge fast food guy, but my go-to is always Jack in the Box, baby. I like to get a jumbo Jack, no cheese, take that tomato off, shove it up your ass. I'll take 2 tacos and as much buttermilk ranch as you can give me with a root beer. Yeah, that's my jam.
Definitely years and years ago, that was like drunk nights, 2 in the morning, where let's go get some fucking Jack in the Box tacos and ranch and get that shit.
Baby, I remember doing that shit with you.
Dollar taco, you couldn't beat 2 for $1. It was.
Yeah,
$2
it still
for
is. Well, I think it's $1.29 now or something. Who knows?
But
I think it's $9.99.
lately, I've really gone. Recently, like last few weeks, I've gotten off fast food because I've been dieting a lot. But before then, Jack in the Box was my go-to. But I would go in stages. Like for a while, it was Hardee's, and then it was Wendy's, and then Jack in the Box has always kind of been there, and then Taco Bell sort of missed. But and then like I became a big Arby's fan and Burger King. And, like I don't know. So my favorite one.
I think when you're a fast food eater, you kind of go through cycles like that.
Yeah,
'Cause I did that same.
And also
shit
that's
too.
what I mean. Like if I want like a certain thing, I'll go to one place for one particular item.
Because my fucking go-to, which is gone, they've taken off the menu, and I'm fucking pissed. The grilled stuffed burrito from Taco Bell. Holy shit!
My
that
go-to
thing delicious.
was I love the it was like the Chipotle chicken griller. It was like $1 thing. It was like $1.50 for like this little thing. It was delicious. One also off the menu. I was like, so fuck you, Taco Bell.
Yeah, but man, that thing.
But, like,
in
right
a
now-
weird way, maybe it was good they took it off because it was like over 1,000 calories.
I will say my favorite thing for like I can't eat it anymore because of diet, but I won't lie, I fell into it, man. I understand the hype now, man. Popeye's chicken sandwich.
No shit.
Holy fuck! Is that like that? Might be like that's like meth in my mouth. It is it's delicious.
It rots my teeth.
It does.
And I stay up for 3 days.
I'm sorry. Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but it's so fucking good. I'm like, holy shit, it's so good.
Someone shot at another guy for getting the last
Yes,
one?
there was like people were robbing KFCs, or not KFC, Popeyes. For like, give me your chicken sandwiches. We're out like, fuck you. Like, and I get it now. Like, I had it like, oh, I get this now.
Wow.
I get this now.
Wow.
I've had them 2 or 3 times now since, because the one here in town was sold out for months. They couldn't get them. And when they finally got, like, oh, I've had 3 of them. And I was like, yeah, I get it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Okay.
So there we go. But then the Jack in the Box is also, just like the 2 tacos and
At
a
the
jumbo
end,
jack.
at the end of the
or-
day, Jack in the Box is my go-to because it is so versatile.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably the most versatile of all the places. All right, this was an interesting from the movie Raccoon. This one's interesting. Fuck, Marry, Kill, Michael Myers, Victor Crowley, and the Gill Man, or the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I like that.
This is a fun one. This is
Yeah,
interesting.
I like that one.
I think.
I've got mine. You want me to go?
I go ahead.
All right, so this is what I have. I have Marry the Gill Man.
Fuck you. Okay, so what do I say? I do too. Marry a Gill Man.
Okay, Marry the Gill Man because he when he was kidnapping women, he was taking very good care of them. He wasn't just slashing and dashing. He wasn't raping. He was carrying them gently off to his lair. And plus, you got a place by the sea. So you want to marry Gilman.
Yeah, you have a coastal. You have beachfront property.
Beachfront property everywhere you go, baby. Next is fuck Michael Myers because, goddamn, he's pretty in shape, pretty aggressive guy. He might be a little fun. Who knows? As long as he doesn't get a little too rough. But, yeah, because I'm not fucking Vic Crowley. God damn, he's too ugly. Fuck, kill that guy. Get him out of here. He lives in a fucking swamp. He's not going to have a nice place. I'm not going to marry him.
He lives in a rundown shack.
Yeah.
Even the Myers house is better than Crowley's shack.
It's got good bones.
You're old. We're getting old when we're looking at the real estate. Who's got the better real estate options? Gilman, beachfront property, Michael Myers, rundown house, or the shack of Victor Crowley? Thank God Jason's shack wasn't on that list.
Maybe. but fucking Michael Myers would be like, ooh, yeah. I think I'd be taking it. I don't think I'd be giving it.
No, yeah,
it's just the way it's gonna go.
I 100% said, fuck Michael Myers, kill Phil Crowley, and marry Gilman.
Awesome.
But for different reasons. I didn't think about the tender care Gilman was said. My reason was because my guy was like, he lives in a fucking lagoon in like South America somewhere. Like he's got to be in the water. He's a Gil, so he can swim around the water all he wants while he's living the life in the water. I'm free to go out and mess around and do whatever I want. So that's just like a marriage on paper at that point. I'm free to do whatever I want outside of that.
Just like the real thing. I'm just joking.
If he ever does, you know what? My girlfriend watches way too much Discovery ID, so I see all these like wives murdering husbands and spouses killing each other shit over and over. Like, if he ever comes at me, he's the easiest one to kill, Victor Crowley and Michael Myers. If I gotta defend myself, I'd rather defend myself against Gilman.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
So
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Weird question.
Yeah.
A weird question there, the movie Raccoon.
But I like it. That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going to see. Check these off as we go. All right. From It's Slimer. Besides dissing horrible horror movies, what's another favorite pastime you guys like to do? So, all right, favorite pastimes. Well, Aaron's going to soon find this out, or he's starting to find this out right now, but now that we're parents, finding free time to do stuff that we want is very, very hard and hard to come by. So, basically, if I'm not watching these shitty movies and trying to work on this podcast, my free time is going to basically come down to trying to get some game time in on the Xbox. D&D is another big one. I love D&D, playing some tabletop games, whether it's D&D or like other like adult D&D, like Betrayal at House on Hill or Dead of Winter,
Last Friday,
like games like that, or Cards Against Humanity. Trying to do something like that. I don't get a chance to go to a whole lot of movies anymore. I'll see the big ones here and there, like any Marvel movie, DC, or Star Wars movie. I make sure to see those. But after that genre, like I can't basically have to wait for them to come out.
So you're not going to see The Gentleman, the new Guy Ritchie.
It does look good, but I can watch that on DVD. I can stream it when it comes out. It's not one I need to see on the big screens. End up paying $40, $50 for a trip to the movie theater.
Right.
Other pastimes, I used to do a lot more theater and stuff, but again, it's been hard to do. So yeah, basically right now it's working on this podcast and just trying to get game time, and gaming is really the only thing I have time for other than spending time with my little girl.
Yeah, man, new baby. That's on my list right there. New baby. I got a new baby, so all my time is kind of dedicated to new baby. And I'll find ways to get around it. But I'm on softball league at work. So I still try and play a little bit of sports. I used to play a lot more sports when I was younger. Like, I used to skateboard for years. You know that. You used to film us, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't skate, but I'd go with you guys and film.
Yeah.
But I play basketball. I used to play hockey all the time. Golf was another one we did. But you used to get me. We played it's funny. My girl the other day was like, man, because I was sitting there playing State of Decay 2. I was going back and playing that, and she's like, this is another zombie game. She's like, whatever happened to Left 4 Dead? I'm like, we
used to play the shit out of that.
And that's what she's like, you and Aaron would play that for hours. Like, you guys were obsessed with that game.
2 years.
Yeah, like we would just, it was insane how much we played.
We got really good at it.
We got so good at it, we could almost do a blind for like, okay, here we go. We could,
top left, on your left.
Yeah, like, here we go. We had down to a science.
But also, I love going to restaurants. I love going out to eat. I love different restaurants. I like different places to have a drink. I love going, I like having Saturday sessions, going out. I don't like to go out drinking during night because I'm older. I like to wake up around noon and go out to about 6 and get hammered, come home, order a pizza, and fall asleep. That's what I like to do. And day drinking is fantastic.
Love day drinking.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan.
That's another. I guess if you want to call it a hobby, pastime, drinking. Because when you're an old fart with kids now, drinking is great. But I don't get the time to go out to the restaurants like I'd like to, because my girl's her hours are crazy.
She works 60 hours a week.
So,
but then you got the kid as well.
Yeah, and my kid's older, so now she's into gymnastics and she just started dance. So I'm taking her to those. Yeah. But day drinking, going out and drinking when we get a chance is also definitely a lot of
But other crap I used to do. I used to play rugby. I was a very short-lived pro wrestler. So it's just kind of fun stuff.
I love being we haven't done it lately, but I would love. I was a big supporter of the local indie wrestling companies. I would love going to indie wrestling shows. Get in for $10.
MECW, baby.
And they have the cheapest beer, and you just get drunk and have a good night watching. Overall, pretty shitty wrestling, but just have fun with it.
Every once in a while, there'd be a match. You're like, wow, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, every now and then, but it's fun. There's one night Aaron and I went. They were selling beers for $1. $1. Are you fucking kidding me? $1? Fuck yeah, we're getting hammered. We would come back with this trays full of beers for $1.
They were 8-ounce beers. They weren't full beers.
But $1?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'll drink. Yeah, here's $20. Keep them coming.
Pretty much.
Christ.
Was that the one I won the raffle at?
Yes.
They had a raffle, and all these people come to these shows so often, so they don't know who I am. No. And I'm wearing an Andre the Giant t-shirt. I'm getting dirty looks from old ladies. It's I don't like that Andre. And I won the raffle. I won their 50-50, and I wanted so bad to just be you know what? I don't even need this money. You people are just so pathetic, just waiting for your time.
He basically cut a heel promo after he won.
Throw it in the air. But I didn't throw it in the air.
And that show was hilarious.
I kept my $70.
That's $75, I think it was. But there was the old lady you're speaking is real, because I remember there was this crazy sassy old lady who was die-hard wrestling fan. She sat in front row,
giving double birds.
She was flipping off refs, and she would get in the heel's face, and she was into it.
Yes.
This lady is amazing. I used to sit there. Most of the time, I'm drinking my dollar beers, and I'm watching her more than I'm watching the people in the ring, because she was
fantastic.
Wow, was she in it? She was just a sight to see. All right. Let's go back to Noah Aguirre. He's a Patreon guy. We know him. Do you guys believe in any conspiracy theories?
No. Sorry.
It depends on what you call conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Not saying I believe them, but Bigfoot, aliens, are those conspiracy theories, or are those? It depends, because some people aliens could be lumped in there when you talk about Area 51 and government
Elvis
covers.
still alive?
No.
Is Tupac still alive?
No.
That kind of stuff.
No, I don't.
I really have.
Was 9/11 an inside job? No.
Yeah, I have a hard time buying into conspiracies.
The closest thing I would say to a conspiracy theory I believe in is organized religion and the Bible. I do.
I love it.
I didn't actually mean I would believe in that. No, I know, but I believe that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I do not believe in it, but I don't know.
Conspiracy to help control the masses and to keep, bilk some money out of them. The ancient Catholic Church. Yeah.
So I don't think there are any conspiracy theories off the top of my head that I can really sit here and think of that I believe in, or that, JFK, there's, the second shooter or any of this stuff. I don't know about any
out
of
of
that.
all the cryptozoology
but see,
types
yeah,
that I would say Bigfoot is probably the most likely.
Yeah,
But the most likely there probably was, or maybe still is, a great ape that is very tall and bipedal and lives and looks very menacing. And there's been documentation across the world of large great ape type creatures.
Yeah, I mean every I will say region of the world has this like
Right.
Bigfoot story
and the dragon,
yeah.
that's the thing. It's like,
I don't know
but
about
you'd
dragons.
see like dragons in ancient Japanese culture,
Yeah.
and ancient Northern European cultures, through England and all throughout Scandinavia, also have fucking dragons that look very similar.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure it's like serpents or other
giant, just large
yeah.
sea creatures that didn't have the ability or scientific way to
Right.
discover or really study or know anything about.
But it's just it's always fun.
But yeah, and like Bigfoot, then you have the abominable snowman, the Yeti, which are basically the same thing. And I would think Bigfoot. I don't know about Loch Ness because it's isolated in a lake, but if any of them were, I'd say Bigfoot. Yeah, would definitely have to be had the highest chance of being real.
Yeah.
But I think even nowadays it'd be so hard because with all like the drones and the satellite image, like everything they have, like for anything not to be seen or discovered
Something that big. It's not like a moth.
Like
It's not like a small primate.
No, or something like lives in the deep bottom of the ocean where everything's black and you can't see shit, and who knows what's down there. But
So you're telling me the Jersey Devil is not real?
yeah, I don't buy the Jersey Devil. Like, and if Bigfoot was real, I would say it would probably be living somewhere more like the Amazon, not like Seattle, like back behind a Starbucks or something like that in the Seattle forest.
You know what one conspiracy theory I am kind of like, at least kind of like, I'm not completely checked out on, is JFK. Because Lee Harvey Oswald, did he act alone? I don't know. And because as soon as he got arrested, he got killed. By just guy who has no one knows, a Teamster by the name of Jack Ruby, who shot him as he was being escorted. Why would you escort this guy without, like, in public, without body armor or anything like that? And it's like, there's a lot of weird shit.
I think they probably do put body armor now because of that.
There's a lot of weird shit around that one. I mean, I'm not deep into it, but I'm definitely like,
what's your take on like the whole ancient aliens thing? That's the whole show. Like, I don't really buy
fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not
care.
really big. I'm not into that one either. All right, so there you go. Let's move on to they're coming to get you, Barbara. I like that. Do you agree with horror movie reboots and remakes, or feel they should be more original content in the upcoming decade?
That's a really good question. That's a very good question because we've been getting a lot of reboot stuff, like the new Child's Play, for example.
Yeah,
kind of crappy, not that good. I mean, I like Mark Hamill's voice, but not that great. Pet Sematary, another remake that was just, or reboot that's just not nearly as good as the original. It's all about trying to get original content. And I think that's one of the reasons I like indies so much. It's because often they'll at least try to do something original.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, another ones that have been original for me that I'm very happy about was Hereditary, Midsummer, or Midsommar, however you want to say it, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe, The Witch, or The Vitch, if you want to say it.
Have you actually seen all those?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I won't lie, I have seen none of those yet.
Oh, wow.
I've heard of them all, and I've heard like people talk shit about The Witch, and I've heard them talk about Autopsy of Jane Doe being bad. And I've heard, but like again, time wise, like I said, I spent too much time watching the shitty movies for this show. I don't have time to watch the good ones.
Hereditary is pretty good.
And I've heard great things about Midsommar, but I've heard Hereditary, like some people love it, other people think it sucks. Like,
it's got some disturbing imagery. It's not boring. I mean, it's got some disturbing imagery in it. Pardon me. I won't spoil it for you, but it's worth a watch.
They're all on my list to get to eventually. Just but as far as
out of all of them, I would say the most fun, I think, or one I kind of was like, wow, that was a good. Didn't give me like weird feelings, and I'm just like, I don't watch. Was The Autopsy of Jane Doe. That one was a great horror movie. I was very happy with, and again, original content. I'm so much more into that.
Okay.
Give me something new.
Well, here's my thought. Like, I agree. I think remakes are... I'm not a big fan of them all the time. Very rarely does a remake come along that actually, like, oh, that's great, or it's on the level of the original. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the Friday the 13th 2009 remake, I thought that one held up as its own.
I agree.
I enjoyed that one. I wish they would have made sequels of that. I wish that would have started a whole new Friday the 13th timeline. Like that was, I enjoyed that movie, and that could have brought really modernize Jason more, and then I thought that would have been great.
It's just legal limbo is the problem.
Yeah.
It's in this crazy legal. I mean, Cincinnati Jeff from Here Comes the Spooky knows all about like there's all kinds of legal. That's why we haven't had any inkling.
And why the game is falling apart and all. But then other remakes, like you said, like Pet Sematary and I won't say. I'm not gonna say it's a remake but in my mind it is because even though the original was a miniseries on TV back in the '80s, was not a movie. So is it really a remake or not? I don't know. But the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street wasn't that great, and the Child's Play one I haven't seen it, but I heard bad things about it.
I think people shit too hard on the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's one thing about horror movies, like things like you get like remakes of horror movies or remakes of like what's called very genre specific films, is the fact that they have such a die-hard fan base that everybody loves the originals, and that's what built up the fan base. So when they remake it, they fidget with something that's so beloved.
If you get 60% of the people like it, you did good.
Yeah, so it's very hard to remake something that's so beloved already, because everybody's gonna be like, no, it's not as good as original, or they're not gonna like because it's not this, or this new Elm Street sucked because it wasn't Robert Englund and Wes Craven, it was something else, and this one sucked. And like, so it's really hard to walk that line. And do some remakes, I think, get an unfair judgment because of that? Yes, but I think that's the boat they're in.
Yeah.
I don't think remakes are great. I would like to see more original content, but again, but also it's horror in 2020 now. Like, there's not much more original things that I think you can do with horror.
I don't think that's true. I think there's definitely original things. I think we're actually in a pretty good place in horror movies right now. Well, I think we are. It's hard to say because we do a shitty horror movie podcast.
I mean, you'd make an original slasher, but it's still a slasher. It's always compared to it's trying to be Friday the 13th. But so a slasher is a slasher is a slasher, but a slasher can be really good.
Yeah, like Terrifier is a great like a new slasher, a new slasher film. Have you seen that one? Okay, yeah.
No.
Okay, Marshall's shaking his head.
I'm very honest about it. I don't. Yeah.
Which again it wasn't the best, but it was good enough that I was like, all right, it's a good slasher. It was a good. Yes, they're not breaking, and they're not embarking.
There's no really new groundbreaking way. And a while ago, about 10 years ago, they tried to groundbreak when we saw like the switch from the slasher R-rated horror movie to the Paranormal Activity PG-13 ghost and paranormal shit that came out, and that flooded the market. Yeah. All those and the supernatural stuff, and those I thought were terrible. I never liked them. And then there's the torture porn horror movie, the shock horror movie,
Hostel, the Saw sequels,
and all those. So it's like, and at the time those were original, but now they're not anymore. And then, then the Purge was the very first Purge was cool. I consider a horror movie. That was cool. That was intense. That was fun. Now all the sequels became more just weird action movies. They're not horror anymore. I think there can be, but Aaron, you make a good point. Even though a lot of indie horror movies are slashers, because that's the bread and butter of the horror genre. Let's be honest. And I still love the slasher. Whether they're good or bad, I love the slasher movie.
Yeah, you should watch Terrifier.
That just, so I don't know. I'd rather see more.
You know what? We should do Terrifier.
I thought about it. I just need to do it, but people say it's good, so I'm like, it doesn't fit here.
That's still debatable.
Yeah, I'll need to see it. It's on my list. But yeah, I like to see more original content. It is, but even if it's like just more slashers, fine. Like, as long as it's not another sequel to, another like Paranormal Activity 10 or some bullshit. I'd rather see a whole new slasher franchise. It doesn't have to be a franchise. Give me a one and done. I'm fine with it.
Here's a question: what do you think of the Halloween other alternative storyline that's happening right now?
Yeah,
like Halloween Kills is coming out.
Yeah, and then when Michael dies or something.
Halloween dies.
Halloween dies.
Yeah, and that's coming out this October. I think that Halloween 2018 was fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, I enjoyed it.
That's another interesting thing about horror movies and some movies, like where they're reimagining timelines now.
I like that. I think that's great. I'm all for it.
It's like, I don't know. I have mixed emotions. Like I kind of like the fact that how Michael came back and it did it right, and I love okay, great. This is what Michael was supposed to be because I love Michael Myers. He was my favorite, but he in the last years so he fell behind. Jason's kind of overtaken him, but at the same time, like to go back and say, you know what, everything that happened in 4, 5, H2O and 8 bullshit that never happened. Now this is what happened. It's like, can he really? It's almost like cheating in a way.
It kind of is, but they do it all the time in comic books. You know, they have Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
They had, Days of Future Past. They've had all kinds of different stuff for like comic books. They
But
do it all the
comic books,
time.
I kind of rely.
So
Comic books to me is like that's almost borderline science fiction. And science fiction, you get away with that shit because you can make shit. I don't know, but
just alternate timelines. I like it. I personally like it.
I think I'd like it better if it say if this was like back to comics. Marvel had the What If series. Well, here is an alternate timeline. What if this happened? So maybe if Halloween was like, what if 4, 5, 6? What if what was it like Halloween? What if that would make cool?
It's not to say that those are bullshit and they never happen. It's just you just kind of pick which one you want to follow.
The one thing I didn't really like about Halloween 2018 is that they did get rid of the events of
number two.
Like I get they kind of want to get away from the whole brother-sister relationship. I get that, but number 2, to my opinion, to this day, is still one of the all-time best sequels ever.
Really?
I loved number 2. Like I thought number 2 was good. Like it started better than 3 and 5 and 6 and 8. So I thought 2 was a pretty good sequel, and I thought I didn't think it needed to be skipped completely. Like maybe I don't know. I don't think they should completely erase it, but
I don't think 2 is the best or great sequel. I think the first one was better.
The first one is better. I'm not saying it was better than 1.
But it's the one thing that really grinds my gears about number 2 is that you have Laurie, who's had this traumatic experience, who's Jamie Lee Curtis, who's a great actress. Number 1, she fucking nailed it. And she's like, like mute the whole time, just like in like a stupor.
Yeah.
A medicated stupor. So you have one of your most powerful tools, one of your best actresses, just, not saying anything.
Isn't that a credit to her acting chops that she can still be great while playing this doped up, methed out person? Not methed out, but
it's a fucking slide at John Carpenter who didn't want to do the sequel.
Yeah.
Who did not want to do the sequel. Who they offered him a buttload of money. And he goes, okay. And he locked himself in a room with a bottle of Jack Daniels and hammered out number 2. And he's like, there, take it. Good question.
Yeah.
We got to move on.
We are moving on. All right. Some of these I'm skipping. They're all gonna get answered. But I'm kind of skipping around right now to try to just Okay, well, here's a more lighthearted one from Pluto Loco. Do the carpets match the drapes?
Do you know who Pluto Loco is?
No, I don't.
Pluto Loco is our friend Mike Carpenter.
Oh, all right.
He's a childhood friend who grew up right down the street in Marshall. We've been buddies with him since you were in junior high school.
7th, 8th grade. Yeah.
Long time. So thanks for
Didn't
listening.
realize that was him.
Yeah, Mike listens. He's talking about a few things. So how you doing, Mike? For me, no, they don't. The carpets don't match the drapes. And I'll tell you why. I have gray hair. I have gray fucking hair. Guess where my gray hair stops? Right at my fucking tits. Right at my nipple line. I'm gray all the way down. My chest hair, the top is gray. And then all of a sudden, it's like a line gets drawn across my chest. And everything from my nips down is like young man brown. Once I find a gray pube, it's over. But right now, it's weird. It's like, I'm not kidding, dude. You see, it's like...
I've seen it, yeah.
It's really weird. It almost looks like I'm wearing a bikini. Because on my tits, I'm a hairy guy. Yeah. On my boobs, on my pecs, pardon me, on my fucking manly chest, I have this weird brown patch. It almost looks like I'm wearing a bikini. Like a strapless bikini of brown hair. So no, they don't.
This is an odd one because my hair has changed from just like your Aaron's has gone gray. When I was a young kid,
fire engine red.
I had fire engine red hair.
Red hair.
Like my daughter has bright red hair.
Yeah.
But now it is more dirty blonde to brownish. Light brown, dark blonde.
In certain lights, you can see some red.
I have some gray coming in on the sides, but so the top of my hair, no. But when when I grew in a goatee and a beard, that came in bright fucking red.
Fire engine red. Yeah.
Fire engine red. So in that case, my pubes aren't. They're not really red either. They're. I guess
you don't have fire crotch.
I am.
You have like smoldering crotch.
Yeah.
Smoldering amber
Like,
crotch.
it's very, very light. It's not blonde, but it's not brown. It's not red. It's just very, almost neutral beige. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
Beige pubes.
Beige. Like, if I had to describe, say, I guess they'd fall into the red category, but they're really not that red. They're just very, almost absent of color, but they're not gray. I don't want
to talk about your pubes anymore.
Yeah, let's move on. So there you go, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Pluto Loco.
All right. Back to next one. Also from Milo Pantone. Top 4 favorite horror movies ever and top 4 favorite non-horror movies.
It's too tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's too tough. So I know it's like you're probably gonna mention one. I'm gonna be like, oh, it's too tough. So what I wrote down was Halloween. Friday 13th Part 7. I know a lot of people are going to say, what the fuck are you talking about? But that was the one that introduced me to the genre when I was a kid. So I'm going to have to say number 7. The Thing. And one of them that I really have been enjoying a whole lot lately, though, and just like I'm going to put in my favorites, is Return of the Living Dead. Just it's, do you want to party? And just the wackiness, the fun, the humor. There's good gore. It's a good one. So yeah, those are the 4 that I came up with on top of my head. And I'm sure if I go back and write it later tonight, I'm going to come with 4 different ones.
Yeah. Say off the top of my head, I don't know if I can come with Halloween, the original. I'm gonna say the Descent. I love that one.
Yeah, I know you've always. I still haven't seen that.
I think that's a really good one. 2 more. Jeez. You know what? This might be a cop-out answer, but I've loved this movie since I just now got introduced to it by throwing it out there. But Intruder.
Oh, wow.
That movie was fucking awesome. Like the gore effects are some of the best I've ever seen.
The unofficial Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, like that one. I love that. And then, man,
don't overthink it.
Yeah, I'm trying not. I'm just trying to think of what. I'll probably throw in a Friday the 13th movie, whether it's 3,
5,
4, or 7.
Yeah.
I say the same thing. I love it because I love that Jason with that look, and I love the craziness of the telepathic
Carrie-esque
showdown at the end was great. But when something dawned on me, I didn't realize it as a kid growing up, but when we did it as a watch along, it really lowered in my book was finding out that how edited it was. Like the kill, when looking back, like the kills suck because you barely see anything because it was so edited.
Butchered.
Yeah. So in that part, it lowers it down. But some Friday 13th.
So favorite non-horror movies.
That's gonna be so fucking hard.
It's pretty easy. I'm not overthinking shit.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead. Some people might say it's a horror movie, but it's more of a comedy.
That's a comedy.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy.
That's
comedy
like saying
horror.
Twilight's a horror movie just because it has vampires.
Yeah. Sin City, fucking love.
Yeah, you did love. You went as Mickey Rourke's character for Halloween.
Marv. Yeah. I was all bandaged up. I painted my wife has been a makeup artist, and she's really good at makeup, and she like made me gray and like kind of angular features, and I put like band-aids and bandages all over my face.
I remember you borrowed my leather trench coat.
Yeah, and I had
But when I got it back for you, it was covered. The inside was just covered in gray paint. I was like, motherfucker! You couldn't give it back to me clean. Here it is, and just gray paint like on the inside. Like fuck.
And I was lifting at the time, so I was a little more beefy, and I was like, yeah. And people were like, damn, that looks great. I look fucking awesome. But Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, great one.
And Glory. That's one that kind of popped up. Yes. Fucking love Glory. I'm a fan of history and just the story of the 54th Infantry. It was all black soldiers during the Civil War who got, they were just assigned to do like
slaughtered.
They were assigned to do medial tasks at first, but they were like, no, we're fucking soldiers. We want to fight. They fought a few battles. They were very good, but then they basically said it was basically like, hey, there's this fort on the beach of South Carolina that no one can take. who wants it, and they volunteered.
Yeah.
They didn't get forced to do it. They're just like, we'll do it,
Yeah,
because we want to, and they did.
I know it was the same because I remember watching that movie, and that was a good movie. But yeah, I remember crying. That was one that made.
That was the very first movie I cried at, and I still cry like a fucking baby. I'm getting teary-eyed talking about it. Great movie.
All right, for me, I did horror. So favorite non-horror movie. Jesus Christ. God damn. I'm gonna put any Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna say like the first trilogy and even the last three I like too. Like so, Star Wars just in general, just boom, Star Wars.
You're a
done.
Star Wars nut, yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is so good too, but Goonies is probably gonna be up there. I love Goonies.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Trying to think of something I've watched a lot recently or some. Well, I don't want to come from the 80s. Like I could like I said, Big Trouble in Little China should be in there. Top Gun could be in there.
Top Gun.
But then I could also go with like some
Top
of the
Gun.
I love Top Gun as a kid, man.
All right.
Never Ending Story was also on top, but not my. Some of the Marvel movies, man, have been amazing.
Fantastic,
Absolutely fantastic. Captain America 2 is one of the best action movies. Like just that's
So
almost like
good.
That is just almost like a perfect action movie.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's a great
Yeah.
fucking movie.
That is great. George St. Pierre's in it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Debbie Does Dallas 2, I think it's got to be one of my all-time favorites. It's underrated.
Classic.
Yeah.
I
know. But
Yeah, so that's about it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's too many.
Yeah.
It's way too many to go on that.
It's a tough one, Milo.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
That's a tough one. All right, so Cincinnati Jeff from Here Comes the Spooky.
Here comes the spooky.
What is, it's kind of piggyback on this, what is your favorite non-horror movie genre, and what are your top 5 movies in that genre? So we'll cut out the last half of that.
Yeah.
Because I just named a bunch of them off. But do you have a genre like
Comedy. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, I'm a ham. I like a good comedy. I like something that makes me laugh. That's why I like some of these horror, like a lot of these indies that have a lot of element of humor to it. I love those.
Yeah.
I love that shit. So, I love movies like Spaceballs. I already mentioned it, Shaun of the Dead. One that's a little newer. Well, not newer. It's about 10 years old now, and I think about it. 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
God damn, that was funny.
at the time that was when that came out, that was hilarious.
I can still watch that movie and enjoy it thoroughly. Anchorman, I mean, that's a fucking funny movie. So those are the types of movies I like. There's more comedies. Don't get me wrong, I love action movies, and there was a time when, actually, right when we started doing the podcast, I was balls deep in action movies, and I was like, "We're gonna do a horror movie podcast, okay? Well, maybe action." But I was like, "Okay, I get it," because we used to watch so much horror movies. Yeah. But so that's me.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm gonna have to. I don't know if this is a genre or not, but if it isn't, I'm making it a genre. It's my answer. I'm saying geek culture movies, and I'm saying that like I look like I'm not saying sci-fi because I wasn't a big Star Trek fan.
So you're talking Marvel, Star Wars, DC.
Yeah, anything that Star Wars movies. I love them. Except don't get me started on the first the one episodes 1, 2, and 3. I have issues. Everybody does.
Number 3 is not horrible.
Not horrible, but the original trilogy and this last trilogy, like Star Wars for me might as well be its own genre. But also like the Marvel movies, superhero movies, I have eaten those up and just come back for more every time. But comedies, comedies are always great. I
love comedy.
But so action, Star Wars and Marvel, they fall in actors action, so you could fall into the action.
Not a lot of comedy in Star Wars though.
No,
more comedy in Marvel.
There's more comedy in Marvel. Yeah.
Like Thor Ragnarok.
The comedy you get in Star Wars comes from like the droids, like R2D and BB-8.
You know what Star Wars movie I have watched a lot of and that I fucking loved was Rogue One. Jesus Christ, I watched the shit out of that. I watched it like 4 times.
It's a good one, but it's a sad one.
Everybody
dies.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies. But it's a good one.
So yeah.
So I don't know if that's a genre, but those like right now, those are my go-to. If I'm not
hear
watching
you.
horror, it's like Marvel movies and Star Wars for me, man.
DC stuff.
I still DC's way behind, but I still watch it because I still love
Sure.
the superheroes and comic books I grew up
Dude,
with.
I
so
watched
still watch them.
Aquaman and like I'm just like going cross-eyed as I'm watching. I'm like, ugh.
Aquaman was actually one of the better ones. It's not, but
It was so long and weird and
Yeah.
like, ugh. But Shazam, fucking loved it.
Shazam was surprising. I thought that was the one I was going to hate the most. Actually, like, not that bad, except for the ending. I hated the last like 10, 15 minutes of it when everybody became Shazam.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hated that, but the rest of it, like, all right, cool. Plus, I love the fact that fucking The Rock is going to be Black Adam in the next one. The Rock is
That's
that's
pretty
fucking awesome, dude.
I thought it was cute when everyone got superpowers.
Oh, I hated it.
Oh.
I mean, I know in the
I
comics,
liked it.
I know they're Frankie, I think Frank, or the blue one, and Mary.
There are
I know
other
those. I know
Shazams.
those two. I remember those
Yes.
as a kid, but like, come on, it shouldn't happen in the first fucking movie. I think like that's too much.
Yeah.
But whatever. There you go. All right, I'm going to come back because we have I have a butt tone here. We're going to do a kind of a fast fire.
Yeah, we gotta have to pick him up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going long.
All right, hold on. Yeah, so hold on a second, guys. All right, we're back, guys. Sorry about that. I had to step away from the mic for a second. All right, so we're gonna try to do these.
Because you had to piss.
All right, well, yeah, I was gonna try to keep the. Yes, I had a pee. All right, all right. So these next like 25, we're gonna try to use rapid fire.
Yeah,
We'll try to use it real quick. These are all from Noah Greery.
Thank you,
First
Noah.
one. Have you guys had the chicken sandwich from Popeye? Well, I already talked about it from earlier, so yes, I have. Aaron?
No, I have not.
All right. Favorite liquor?
Vodka and whiskey. Now, if you put a gun to my... I love them both. If you put a gun to my head, I had to choose one, I would have to choose vodka because it's more versatile.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Me, I'm going with scotch and bourbon, which I guess you could also say whiskey, but bourbon.
Yeah, they're...
Not all bourbon's whiskey, not all whiskey is bourbon.
Right.
So whatever.
They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. So favorite genres of music from favorite to least favorite.
Okay, so I wrote this down. Rock. In rock, I'm being very broad with the term rock. That's including heavy metal. That's including, like indie stuff. I'm just being very broad. I'm painting with a broad brush with all of these genres. Rock, hip hop, R&B, disco, classical, folk, pop, country, pop country.
Okay, see, there's too many like genres for me to think. I should have written that one down. All right, for me, top, I'm gonna go with rock too.
Mm-hmm.
All like, I would say the same thing. Rock, heavy metal, all that stuff is gonna be in there.
Broad brush,
all
yeah.
broad brush because I love heavy metal and like stuff like Disturbed, but also like Green Day and other things.
Yeah, just
then I will go with hip hop. I have to be specific because I want to say a genre for me is because I guess they do because oldies has become a genre. I'm going to say 80s and 90s. Oldies.
80s, 90s, and early 2000s hip hop.
Well, no, I'm saying rock, then 80s, 90s music, and then hip hop from the 90s, early 2000s. Like, I don't like a lot of the newer stuff because I'm very specific, but I like my Wu-Tang Clan, my Beastie Boys, some DMX, Run DMC.
You're Gangstar.
I was a big Gangstar fan. Yeah.
Alcoholics.
Yes. Flatliners.
Grave Diggers.
Yeah. So that stuff. And then I'll do pop. Then I guess I'll do Scottish folk music followed by
Fair enough.
Mexican Vuvuzuela music, and then
I didn't know that was a genre because those are completely unrelated.
I know. I know. That's why it's so crazy. It's so
I
weird.
know. Who would have thought?
And then underneath that, I think I have listening to mimes chant. So figure that one out. And then Tibetan monks, and then I probably wait out. Then country. And then I think between the Tibetan monk chant and the country, I think I would have to put in trance and house music. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I forgot about that EDM.
Yeah. All right. So, will you guys ever do the format you guys have now for regular horror movies? Okay. So basically, the spin-off show with good movies. I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
We've always talked about doing spin-off shows and doing a second show, but
we talked about doing like an indie that's just like covering indies.
Yeah, just covering
because
indie
we don't
movies.
want to. We do indies sometimes. We don't want to shit on indies.
Because a lot of times our bad, but that we love indie movies.
We love the fact that people are out there doing it and trying it and making movies, and it's very cool. Like we shit. I feel really bad. I still want to say I'm almost sorry for shitting so hard on Campground the Requel, which was a Roman Jossar directed, written movie, and I love him as an actor. But man, that movie just. I got pretty drunk and I went to town on it. We got some hate like a lot of. I almost want to apologize for that. You know, you tried, you did it, you fucking made a movie. Good for you, man. I just went a little hard in the paint on that one.
Yeah. So we'll say right. I'm not gonna say never close the door on it because you never want to do that. But I'm gonna say right now, probably not. No plans. All right. Which matters more, violence or sexuality in a horror movie?
Violence that is sexy.
Sexy violence.
No, violence that is sexy.
Oh.
So you're for more sexy violence. I'm for violent sexy. It's like, tastes great, less filling.
Yeah.
In all honesty, the reason we're watching the movie is we want to see someone get fucking ripped apart. You know.
Yeah, I don't say I hate to say the violence you don't want to promote, but the gore but it's at the end of the day. If you don't have that, it's not a horror movie. Yeah. I mean, otherwise you just might as well be watching like a softcore Playboy movie or something like that. So I'm going to say you have to have some kind of violence that even classifies as a horror movie. Yep. And I just watched one movie the other day that had like almost zero sexuality in it at all, and it was actually pretty good. Sure. Oh no, it was Intruder. We were watching Intruder. There's like no tits in that one, nothing. There's like one makeout scene, and like that's one of my favorite movies of all time. There's like no sexuality in that one.
I'm with you.
All right, so number 6. Will Aaron ever have to do a solo show for leaving Marshall stranded like that? I love this question.
Okay. This was in reference,
and I'm glad you asked that.
This is in reference to Happy Birthday to Me.
Yes.
Or no. Happy Death Day.
Yes.
Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Wasn't that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Happy Death Day. That was different because holiday season, I missed one. Then we had to come back, and I was going to miss it again because the weather was fucking horrible. You remember, the weather was bad. Ice all over the roads. I couldn't make it. I'm like, hey, man, I don't think you're like, no, it's cool. I'll just try and do it on my own. If I have to do one on my own, fine, I'll do it. You know what? I did interview Dave Dyer all by myself.
That's like 20-minute interview. That's not a full episode.
That was 40 minutes, baby.
That's not an hour and a half of you sitting here in a room talking, trying to carry out make a whole episode funny. Because you had another person you were talking to.
That's true.
So... And it was, yes, you missed the holiday episode. Then the following week was bad weather and I didn't do it. So I was good. No, because yours was a third week. Because I was like, I can't push this off anymore. I have to do it. And you still didn't come.
Something happened.
And I'm like, fuck, I have to do this because I can't go 3 weeks without putting something up.
It was bad weather. It was because you even said so in the episode. You said like it's.
No, I said that to cover your ass.
Oh, bullshit.
No, I covered your ass on that one because I didn't want to leave you. I wasn't going to string you up. I was like, Aaron's not here because he's fucking lazy or he didn't want to come or he had some buried. Oh, you might have been hungover. I said, dude, I'm too hungover. I can't make it today. So I was like, okay, well, the weather's got him. I think that was because you canceled me before because you've been hungover.
There have been a few. Just a few, not many. As Marshall pops a beer.
Yes.
He's not an innocent angel. He's here. He doesn't have to drive 30 minutes, so...
True, but I've also never been so hungover I couldn't do the show.
Then you don't drink enough.
Fair enough.
I don't
know. Maybe someday I'll make Aaron do a solo show, but I don't know. All right, question 7. Will you guys ever be able to get Hall of Famer Ron Jeremy on the show? God damn it, I hope so. I want to get him on so badly. And sort of, we kind of loosely have a connection to him. Sort of, but it's not like we're buddy-buddy with the guy, but we interviewed... the director of Bloody Blade Bible Camp,
Vito Tribuco,
who we might be able to contact him, and might maybe get us in touch with the right people some way down the line. Maybe. Also, I also need to get the money to afford the technology we need to actually record a over the phone interview
and make it like
you can
get stuff
good
cheap, but to make it like real clear.
So again. If you want to support the show and help us
join our Patreon.
Join our Patreon to help us get equipment like that so we can bring you that kind of content. Join our Patreon page. We'd love that.
So your guys' opinion on the age to start showing horror movies to kids?
Well, this is interesting because I don't know. There's my answer because eyes like, oh, we watched them. I was 5-6 years old when I saw my first Friday the 13th. I'm like, Yeah, well, do I want my 5 or 6 year old watching? Like,
Exactly.
So, like, I don't know.
This is what I wrote for classic horror movies. We're talking like your PGs. You know, your
MGM or Universal Studio black and white.
Right. You know, it's just getting their feet wet, and there can be even some more modern ones that kind of fit the bill. I can't think of any at the top of my head right now, but
I would say in the Goosebumps movies, they're designed for younger audiences.
So 5 to 10 years old. You know, and again, it's all kid specific. There could be like I remember I watched a horror movie when I was 5. I was like watched Dracula. I fucking loved it. You know, other 5-year-olds might not like it or may not be mature enough to even sit down and watch. So I'm saying 5 to 10 for that. But then for some more spooky shit, something that's a little more, you know, intense, I'm going to say 10 to 15. And again, it's child specific.
Yeah. You got to, it's just, every child is different. Every kid can, you got to know what your kid can handle emotionally and realistically. Like, are they mature enough to understand what they're seeing and can handle it? One reason why it's harder for me to get these movies watched and get my notes and do it is because of my kid who's old enough now where she's 3. I don't watch any of these movies in front of her. Like I still don't. Like I had to find time where she's either with my parents, like grandparents are watching her, or somebody else is watching her, so I can step aside and do this because I don't even play like Friday the 13th, the video game in front of her anymore because of the kills and brutal. So, and she's 3, so
she's a lot more intuitive now,
yeah, and she's starting to pick up on see things. And, you know, I was playing State of Decay. I was saying that, and she says she's like monsters when she sees the big juggernaut zombie. I'm like, okay, she's picking up on this. So
it's kid specific.
It's kid specific, but I would say responsibly, I would say at least 13, at least, such for like the stuff with the really bad gore and the nudity and the sex. And even then, you have to. It would maybe even. I don't know, but that's my stuff. Nice old fogey stuff coming out, I guess. All right. 9 franchises ranked. Well, that's what are we calling a franchise? Are we talking 3 movies or more? Or are we talking like?
I'd say 3 movies or more.
Because there's more. There's so many fucking franchises out there. Like we can't rank them all.
I would say for me, Friday number 1, Nightmare number 2. You know what? I'm gonna take it back. Friday number 1, Halloween number 2, Nightmare number 3. I'm gonna say probably Child's Play number 4, Texas number 5, and then I know there's your Victor Crowley's and some other ones, and I might be forgetting one at the time. That's my ranking. Hellraiser, I'm gonna say that's below Child's. You know, it's before Texas. Yeah, so Friday, Halloween, Nightmare, Child's Play, Hellraiser, Texas.
Okay, because I mean, we're gonna say. I will say we're not doing all the franchises. I'm not gonna even include like all the full moon, like Puppet Master, Ginger Dead Man,
Final Destination,
all those. Yeah. So,
because this is off the top of our head.
Yeah.
If we sat down and hammered it out, it might be different.
Like we should have, but no, we're
well. It's
but there's so many. It can't. So I'm gonna go Friday as well. Years ago I would have said Halloween, but it's Friday. Maybe these new ones that are coming out will kind of help push it back up. But right now, as it stands,
that's the one. That's the one thing that boosted me up because Halloween 2018 boosted it up over Nightmare for me.
Yeah. Friday, Halloween. Now this is where it gets interesting because. Nightmare on Elm Street is in Texas, and I'm gonna say the Hatchet franchise. I've really enjoyed the Hatchet franchise. Adam Green, I thought those have been a lot of fun. But I just think, I guess, historical reference. The top 3 I'm gonna go Friday, Halloween, Nightmare, and then I think I'm gonna go Pork Chop.
Ah, yeah, that's 3, baby. That's good.
If you count Pig Girl, that's 4. So like pork chop.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Then I'll go. Then I'm probably gonna go Hatchet. What Child's Play? I haven't seen enough of the original Child's Play to stand out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those were. Hellraiser's gonna be at the bottom, and if we're doing franchises and Paranormal Activities franchise, that's at the bottom. That's a nice shitter.
Yeah.
Child's Play. So yeah, Friday, Halloween, Nightmare. I think I'm gonna do probably then Hatchet, Pork Chop, and then I'm probably gonna do Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Child's Play, Hellraiser, and Paranormal Activity. Those will be from top to bottom. There you go.
Yep.
All right, number 10. Your guys' opinion on porn now versus the 80s. Okay.
Now. We're in the golden age. Are you kidding me? Porn is amazing right now. Amazing. You can watch anything.
Well,
anything.
I don't know if that's a good thing, though.
It's good. What do you think I did? Why do you think I was a little late?
Yeah.
Actually, I was on time today.
Actually, you were. But that's, I don't know. There was something charming about 80s porn. Like, especially when we were kids growing up, that's the first porn we saw was the 80s. Like, 80s porn.
Trading tapes, stuff like that.
Yeah, trading the old VHSs and watching those.
Because that's what you had to do with porn. It's like you couldn't.
And that was the day when they still had a story, and you could you had to, you could watch a storyline, and you had some sex included.
I want to see them titties flop, and I want to see
you
big
just
ass.
Like the gun. You just want to see the scene after scene after scene. You just want to. Now it's just like it's porn has shifted to become basically what's American society is like instant gratification. We don't want the story anymore. Just give us the banging and let's move on.
Yeah, my favorite.
Nobody wants to sit through the storylines anymore.
My favorite search is on Pornhub compilation. Just give me a little bit of everything. Give it to me all.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
I always feel a little weird when they slip gay dudes and they're like, oh.
Yeah. I think there was something charming about this porn from the 70s, 80s. The stars were definitely almost like actual stars at the time.
Peter North,
Ron Jeremy, John Holmes. I almost said John Hughes.
Well, I don't remember the guys.
They were Linda Lovelace, but. Yeah, porn now is just so much easier, so much just on hand.
So are we disagreeing?
I'm split, but I'm saying there's something. No, I think I'm going to say probably now just because the ease of access, you can get it. You get what you want.
If you want to watch that stuff, you can still find it, baby.
Honestly, it's not as easy. I've looked for some of the 80s stuff. I remember this kid like, I wonder what I can't find it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because it's hard. Because like I said, everything's chopped up into just scenes now. So if you want to see like Indiana Jones or Candy Stripers or Little Girl Blue or these or Taboo or Deep Throat, you can't. It's hard to find those whole. Like you might find sex scene 3 from that, but you're not going to see the whole movie anymore. It's really hard to see those. But I'll say overall now, just for convenience sake, now. All right. Have you guys ever heard of the YouTube channel named Good Bad or Bad Bad? No, I have not. But I'm assuming it's basically what we do. Or some very.
Now I'm going to check them out. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
I wonder if we were here first.
Probably not. I don't know, but probably not.
Been around for 5 years, man.
Yeah,
almost.
YouTube's been around a lot longer.
But
who knows? When you guys get, when you guys get on, where you remember us day one fans? Of course. We remember our fans. We don't have a whole lot, so of course we're gonna remember you guys.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Worst jobs you guys held down. Worst jobs. Okay. Aaron's clapping his hands. He's ready for this one. So go ahead.
Telemarketing. I lasted 1 day. I guess it's like that's a bad one to like kind of reference, but yeah, that was the worst job I think I ever had. I did also work in a cafeteria at my college.
I remember that.
During college, they had this like work program with your student loans where you can get, you only got paid like $4 an hour, but then you'd get like $5 tacked off of your student loans if you did it. But I could not stand working in that fucking cafeteria, and just with these, I feel really bad, but no, I couldn't do it. And one of my best friends did it all the time, but he like ran the register, did the register. He checked out people, and people like, oh hey, what's up, Justin? How's it going, man? He'd like check people out.
That's front of house stuff.
I was back of the house. I'm the motherfucking stirring soup.
Yeah,
and like pouring chili.
Yeah. The front house is where it's at on that.
I also worked at bread company, or it's just to non-St. Louis people, Panera. So I worked at Panera. That was a very short 2 months, right before I left for Bangkok.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. My 2 worst jobs. I too worked in my college's cafeteria for 1 day. Same with you, Aaron. Backline, hated it. And so much. It wasn't because it was weird because I thought to be more like kids I knew back there, like all the colleges working there. No, it was like me and like a bunch of like shitty townies.
Yes.
And I went to a small town. It was like these horrible. I'm like, and some of them were tiny, like kids, like 16, 18-year-old kids. I'm like, you guys are terrible.
Yes.
I am not getting, no. I did it one day and I was done. And the only other job I did one day, I worked at a carpet store, like this old, like I think it was called M&M Carpet. And it was like this little strip mall carpet store. It was dirty. Like it's not even open anymore, but it was a shithole. But it was, it was a job.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. One day, I went there. I remember I spent the whole day. All I did was like measure some carpet out, cut some carpet, and then just really didn't do anything. I walked out in the middle of my shift because my boss was passed out asleep in his office with the TV on. And I was like, this motherfucker, I'm out here doing this bullshit and he's sleeping? I'm like, fuck you. I just walked out and never even collected my money from them. I just left and never get back.
That's
so there
pretty
you go.
funny.
All right, so have you guys been recognized on a street from the podcast? No, I don't think that will ever happen.
In a weird way, I was. Went to the Haunt, which is a bar in St. Louis, which is a horror-themed bar.
Yes.
Went to the Haunt, and I walk in, and someone goes, "Hey, you're the guy from Horrible Horror." I'm like, "Holy shit!" Now, yes, of course, I had like a Horrible Horror hoodie on or something like that. But he recognized it, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're from Horrible Horror." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I'm from I was at the Contamination." So he kind of we went to that Contamination,
Okay.
So he recognized me.
Oh, so you have been,
yeah.
so that's cool. I
felt,
have not.
But it was from
But it
it was
felt
from
good,
the
though.
con.
But it felt good.
Yes, because the people are with were like, "Oh, look at him!
Yeah.
his podcast is bigger than he thinks." Okay, all right. Well,
Yeah.
maybe it is something.
I would love that to happen to me, but it has not happened yet. It has not happened yet. Honest opinion on Disney Plus. I'll say right now, real easy. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's only going to get better from here, I think.
So
They'll
far, I
add
like it.
more
Yeah,
shows and
yeah.
more original content.
Mandalorian's pretty cool.
Mandalorian's awesome. I love the fact I can watch every Marvel movie. I can watch every Disney movie for my kid. The old I've been going back and watching the awesome old X-Men cartoon from the 90s. I've been watching like fuck yeah. So yeah, Disney Plus, I'm good. Will you guys be getting HBO now?
Got it.
Aaron already has it. I probably will not because I just don't have the extra money for every streaming service under the sun, and HBO is expensive. Favorite childhood memory? Oh God.
Sex and baseball.
There you go. I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna cap out. There's too many to choose from.
Going to baseball games with my dad and seeing boobs on TV and having sex at 15.
Yeah,
So,
first time you have sex, of course, that's a great one. Yeah,
I mean, is that childhood? Does that am I like?
Yeah, when does childhood technically end?
Yeah,
Are we talking
yeah.
like 18 when
If
you
I'm
officially become
if I'm
like,
15,
legally?
am I still a child?
Yeah, I mean by law we are, but I don't know. Okay, favorite horror movie soundtrack.
Okay, now if it's an original score, I like
Yeah,
Halloween.
between scores and soundtracks.
Halloween and Halloween 2018. Fucking fantastic. So good. John Carpenter wrote all that shit and does it. He still does it, goes on tour. They're so good. It's kind of like, I don't know what you call it. Shit, I forgot the genre. It's not new age. It's not fucking, anyway, it's fucking awesome. I love that shit. I love it. I think John Carpenter's scores are always excellent. They're so moody and weird and good. Now, as far as like actual soundtracks and music, I'm probably going to lean again towards Return of the Living Dead, just kind of like that 80s metal and punk, stuff. Yeah, that was my favorite.
I can't even recall anything, like nothing as far as like soundtrack music wise sticks out. So I'm like, I don't know, nothing. But if I'm going score, yeah, I gotta go John Carpenter Halloween and Halloween 2018. Those have just everything about them is eerie. They stood the test of time. They're iconic. Second runner up would be probably the Sean Cunningham. I think he's a producer. Henry Manfredini or whatever. The guy who did
Mancini?
No, it's Manfredini or something, not Mancini. But anyway, the Jason stuff, Friday 13th.
Yeah.
There's some really good stuff in there too. So there you go. All right, when did Aaron stop watching wrestling?
2005-ish, 2004-ish.
No,
you're right.
We were still going to shows
You're
at that
right.
time.
2006,
I'd say
7?
10. No, really? I'd say at least
You
2010.
know better than I do.
Well, from what I gather, my guess is it was at
Before
least...
CM Punk was a thing. Like, he was around, but he wasn't a big thing yet.
Okay, he wasn't the
Before
big...
CM Punk was a big thing, whenever that was.
Okay.
Because I think the very last wrestling DVD I bought was a Jericho, like, retrospective. This is Jericho breaking the walls. I bought that, and it had like a Royal Rumble where CM Punk was on it.
Okay. So we'll say at least 10 years. Opinion on the current state of wrestling, Marshall. Okay, this is for me.
Don't go long in the tooth, baby.
I'm mixed. Women's wrestling, I think, is great. I love watching where it's going. It's come so far. I've enjoyed watching more women's wrestling than the men lately. I love NXT. It's become one of my favorite things in the world. I enjoy that more than Raw and SmackDown. I haven't watched Raw and SmackDown. I've been probably like a month now, but I watch NXT every week. I think it's still good. I mean, I think it's probably better than it's ever been as far as popularity goes, which surprises me because it's been around forever. And I keep thinking sooner or later, how does it keep getting better? Like it becoming more popular.
There's peaks and valleys,
but it's like
it's been peaks and valleys since the 50s.
I mean, Vince McMahon will always be. You're gonna love him or hate him.
But
he's iconic. He's a genius in
yeah.
what he's did, but at the same time, he also holds things back because of his whether it's his ego or just what his vision is. But I think when Triple H, like if you look at what Triple H does with NXT, I think it's a lot. There's some really good signs of what's to come.
But also just wrestling in general. AEW is a good competitor. They've got great talent.
I've only watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes of that, so I haven't stayed up with it to really.
But they've got a good following, and also Ring of Honor. I mean, Ring of Honor is good other.
I'd say one thing I wish there was more of, and I understand why it's harder to do, and I see why there's less and less of it. But I wish there was more indie wrestling. I hate seeing the small local shows companies fall apart and go under because I love indie wrestling. Like even now, it's hard to call it indie wrestling now, but like Shimmer, women's athletes, Shimmer is awesome. But like I don't know if that's considered really. I guess it's still indie because it's not WWE or AEW, but they've gotten so big. But like brands like that, like I love like the low. So I don't know. I think wrestling's fine. I think it's continue to grow. It's still enjoyable. I still watch it. There you go. Will there be a sequel to this podcast with your children taking over the reins?
Yes.
Holy fuck, that would be amazing.
Everly and Olivia.
Olivia, from a women's perspective, taking this over in like 20 years. Holy fuck, if that happened, that would be amazing.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
When is Aaron Shaw due? Well, it's already here. She's already here.
Yeah, she came early. She was due February 5th, but we had the emergency C-section.
Have you and the wife picked out a name yet? Yes, you have. And do you know the sex yet? Yes, you do.
It's a girl.
And favorite food?
Pizza. No.
I'm gonna say pizza for me.
No, honestly, it's a
pizza and steak.
Bone-in ribeye cooked medium rare with a little bit of butter, just a drizzle of butter, salt and pepper on it. Oh my God! Give me a loaded baked potato next to it with a fucking Guinness. That's my meal. Followed by a hot fudge sundae.
Oh,
with no nuts. That is my death row meal.
I'm gonna say
my death row meal.
Pizza, probably from Dewey's or Papa Vito's here in town. Those are amazing pizzas. Also, Jefferson's double dipped wings.
Those are really good.
Those blow me away. Okay, we got.
So they do something. They wreak havoc on your tummy sometimes.
Yes, they do sometimes. Sometimes. All right, back to got to that quick rapid fire. So moving back. Okay. Horror Goon, right? Inquiring mind wants to know: do you boys wipe from front to back or back to front? Do you prefer to crumple your toilet paper during the process, or do you fold your toilet paper?
I'm typically more of I'm a folder for sure. I'm a folder, and I go back to front, but at times I do switch it up and go front to back. I do a little bit of back and forth.
I'm a folder. I alternate. As
do I.
I go front to back and back to front. I go back and forth like windshield wipers, and just back and forth, and I get it all up, and then I coming in with what I call my Jason Isringhausen's, if you will. My closers are the wet wipes.
Now,
my Chris Carpenters, my Adam Wainwrights are the folded paper. They take care of most of the game. But then I bring in to close out the game. I get my wet wipes, my Jason Isringhausen's to come in and mop up the last of it.
So when I'm at home,
because
I like
Aaron
that.
and I both suffer from the shag carpet effect.
Yeah, peanut butter and a shag carpet.
We both have very hairy asses. So yeah, I gotta go. I close out the wet wipes.
So when I'm at home,
yes,
I have the bidet now.
I know. I'm so jealous of your bidet. Jealous.
It just blasts my asshole and I'm good to go. I just clean it up and I'm fine. But when I'm out, when I'm in public and I take a shit and I don't have wet wipes on me, you ever do the old Alabama wet wipe? Just spit on it.
Never done that.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but boy, it works.
I have never done that.
Just spit on the toilet paper. Ooh, it's gross. You feel a little weird, but you're clean. You're a lot cleaner.
Never done that.
The old Alabama wet wipe.
All right. So well, there you go. All right. From Brandon Schneider, my wife came with this one. So Brandon Schneider's wife. If you could replace any horror villain / killer with Pee Wee Herman and see what it would be like, which movie/franchise would you pick? That's a hilarious question.
Leatherface and Pee-wee, flip them around. I was thinking, "Ah!" Just running around the chainsaw. I find that just a hilarious image.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I don't know if I could top that.
That's what I would do. Leatherface and Pee-wee.
Hilarious. Yeah. Man, all those would be like, it had Jason, Michael, no, that kind of boring. But I don't know, maybe a Pinhead Pee-wee could be interesting.
Oh, that'd be weird, because you know how Pinhead, sometimes Pee-wee gets kind of low and talks like this.
Pinhead Pee-wee could
just
be
more subdued. But I just like the idea of him being
the change,
just
like,
Leatherface, just be like,
I can't do the Pee-wee live anymore. yeah, that's it. With this or like Chucky, like would Pee-wee be like a miniature Pee-wee?
Oh, like almost like his puppet version of
like
himself,
or like a puppet master. Take out the puppet and just have puppet Pee-wees. There you go.
You could have the whole gang from the Playhouse as part of the Puppet Master team.
Fucking Cherry, go around.
Zombie.
Floating head. The whole cast of Pee-wee plays as Puppet Master. There you go.
That's a fun question.
That's a fun one. All right. Mr. Coffee Doug Jones sent in. What got you too into horror? Age, movie, titles, people that took you to see them, etc. So, okay, a background question. Well, nobody ever took me to see horror.
No, I would say no one took me to see horror, but my mom introduced me to horror. She showed me like on Halloweens, we would always watch like the original Dracula, original Frankenstein, original Mummy, the Universal movie monsters, and then we even watched like when I got a little older, it was Hell House. We watched, which was still like PG-13, and a couple other like weird like 70s, 80s ones. Some War of the Worlds, some other sci-fi ones that were also included. And that's what really got me started with horror, was my mom kind of introducing me to it.
For me, age, like I said, my first experience was when I was a baby. Not a baby, but I was a young kid, and I had a babysitter over. She was downstairs watching a movie, just like on HBO or Showtime at the time. And I remember I snuck down the stairs, and she was watching Friday the 13th 3, and it was near the end of the movie. And I remember watching like the last, 20 minutes of that, staying behind watching it, and that was like made a big impact on me. So I was maybe somewhere between 7 and 10 in that area. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in that range. That got it. And I remember Halloween movies. Michael Myers actually, when I was a kid, scared the shit out of me. Like, I was more scared of Michael Myers than I was of Jason for a long, long time. But that, I obviously got over that. And I think that's one of the reasons that drew me to Michael more, because I was more afraid of, I thought he was creepier. But yeah, I never had anybody, my parents never took me, nobody ever took me to horror movies. I always went by my own. The only, I'm quoting here, quote unquote, horror my parents ever introduced me to was Abbott and Costello versus Frankenstein. That was it. So I never really had an introduction. It was just all me, and just
I remember your love affair with Michael Myers, and I got a funny little story that I can tell. Marshall used to have parties. His parents would go out of town in high school and early college, and I remember it was an early college party, and there was this girl that I was kind of trying to get my dick wet. And we would have these parties, and she came over to a couple of parties, and we messed around a few times, but I had her on I was smoking a cigarette. We were smoking weed or something. I don't remember exactly what we were doing, but we were on the back porch. We were hanging out, and I was talking with her. I was kind of putting the moves on her. So she was sitting on this bench, and I'm kind of like kneeling in front of her, like rubbing her, like, yeah. And she goes, what's that? And I look over, and there's fucking in coveralls with a proper kitchen knife, a big-ass kitchen knife, and the Michael Myers mask. And I'm just like, motherfucker, you cock-blocking son of a bitch. And I'm just like, Marshall, fucking cut it out. But he's just still. Doesn't move, doesn't twitch, doesn't do anything. I'm like, Marshall. And she's like, and I'm like, Marshall, cut it out, dude. And you just, again, doesn't move, kind of does the head tilt just ever so slightly. And I'm just like, fuck. And I'm like, Marshall, cut it out. I stand up, I take a couple steps towards him, doesn't move, and I'm like, I started getting a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, fuck. This is he's doing a great job. Because Marshall's a pretty big guy, so he like fills this out perfectly. He does it very well. So I'm just like, God damn, well, you're like 6'1",
yeah.
At the time you're like 220, 250, 230.
220.
You're a big boy, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And I look back, and the girl is gone. And I'm just like, God damn it. I turn around, he takes off the head. He's like, ha ha! You bastard.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, moving on from Jeff Bosniak. What was the toughest obstacle to putting together your podcast before recording the first episode?
Getting equipment.
Well, yeah, equipment. Honestly, for me, the toughest obstacle was just getting Aaron to commit. Getting him to commit to doing it.
Fair enough. Yeah,
that was my biggest obstacle.
We've done it.
Yeah, I mean but I'm saying I was like trying to make sure to get him on board and try to make sure it's something he would have fun with as well. That was to me my biggest hurdle.
I was going to give it a good college try.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to give it a good 10 episodes, maybe 20, and see how I feel about it. And my attitude still hasn't changed, but we're here at like almost 200.
Yeah.
Basically, when it stops becoming fun, I'll stop.
Yeah. From Cass North, what's your favorite decade for horror movies and music? 80s.
Good question.
For me, horror movies for sure 80s. That's been just a cornucopia of wonderfulness.
For me, horror movies also 80s. Recently, there's been some good ones, but 80s, there was so much good stuff. God damn, there's even a recent documentary about 80s horror movies.
80s for I don't want to say big budget, but for anything that was basically remotely any kind of studio. I get even stuff like Mutilators and but that's still a studio piece.
But even there was some good canon ones and stuff.
Yeah, but nowadays for indie movies because it's so much easier for people to make movies, people can do it, and you get so much crazy 80s or indies. But overall, 80s hands down for horror movies.
Absolutely. I mean, it's gigantic. It's so good. Music, me personally, I kind of like 90s to mid 2000s is kind of like my favorite source music, because it's like that covers everything from like Metallica before they released Metallica. You still had Injustice for All, and I would even go back Ride Lightning, even though I know that's technically the 80s. But you still had some good stuff, and then that went into like the grunge and the stuff that goes very influential to me. Beastie Boys, hip hop, hip hop really took hold. R&B really blew up, which is awesome. I like that too. All the way to the mid 2000s when I worked at a record store and I was just sitting like balls deep in music. I loved it. But once I left that music store, honestly, my music taste has kind of withered on the vine. I mean, I still hear some good things here and there, but yeah, that's my favorite music time. For
me, music, I mean, it's a cop out because it covers so much, but I love 80s music. There's so much that I love. But same with you, like 90s to early 2000s again, just because that's when we got Green Day, Beastie Boys. Everything was in their prime. Everything was so great. And it's the hip hop there was better. Like the Wu-Tang Clan was there, and that was before they were even popular.
But even Snoop was great, and Dre was
Dr.
great.
Dr. Dre coming out.
And even
some like early DMX stuff I like.
And at the time, I didn't nearly appreciate it enough. I actually never really listened to it much. But Tupac, I go back and listen to Tupac. Yeah, it's good. I get why everyone liked it. But at the time, I was like, fuck Tupac.
I was the same way. I was like, fuck Tupac. Yeah. I mean, we were, but yeah. So like, yeah, I'm not saying there's nothing good comes out now, but that was my mid '80s to mid 2000s.
So 2 decades.
2 decades. But yeah, I don't know if that's a cop out or not, but that's our answer. From the I Hope You Suffer podcast. What favorite horror movie is considered? Do you get? Wait, hold on. What
do you generally consider terrible?
Is generally considered terrible? Okay, so one of our favorites that's generally considered terrible.
So bad it's good. I don't know.
Okay, so what movie do we really like that most people think is terrible? Okay,
Terror Train. A Muck Train, I mean. A Muck Train.
Muck Train.
Yeah, Muck Train.
Death Spa.
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah.
That could go back to like favorite wacky scenes.
Christ. Humanoids from the Deep.
Yeah.
I still own that on Blu-ray, baby. I don't want to get rid of that.
Terror at Blood Fart Lake. I hate to say it, but goddamn.
Yes.
But favorite. I mean, okay, a favorite. I don't know. Most like if you say our favorites, like I said, Halloween, they're all considered good. So, yeah, I'd say of the favorite ones that we've done considered terrible, I would say A Muck Train, Terror Blood Fart Lake.
Yeah. Unrelated to podcast that may be more popular now, and I think it's in the horror community. It's like the cool kid on the block, Halloween 3. I still think it's pretty damn good. I think it's pretty fun. Marshall is about to have a seizure here. He can't stop, but
moving on. Just moving on. Another from Jeff Bosniak. What movies that are considered terrible from other genres do you consider guilty pleasures?
Okay, Overboard with Kurt Russell and
Really?
Goldie Hawn. Fucking love
I
that
don't know if
movie.
that's considered terrible, but okay.
Yeah, well,
I don't like it. Okay,
yeah.
I get it. But you love Kurt Russell, so I get it.
I
But
do, yeah.
I can't stand Goldie Hawn, so I hate it.
Yeah. The Postman with
Costner?
Kevin Costner. It's like a
Really?
post-apocalyptic
Yeah, where
word.
he basically reinvents the Pony Express.
Yeah, he finds letters, and he's like, he's a vagabond in a post-apocalyptic world. He finds this old postman with he finds a dead postman's bag, and he's like, I'm the postman. I'm just delivering these letters, hoping he can get some food or something. And they're like, the government's back? What's going on? And he's like, yeah, the government's back. Yeah, and Tom Petty's in it, playing Tom Petty.
Oh yeah,
it's
Kevin Costner went through like a whole weird apocalyptic phase because he did that in
Waterworld,
Waterworld, like, back
yeah.
to back, like right there.
yeah. Another one, Punisher, Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren Punisher.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guilty pleasure. One
Oh
of
my
mine.
god.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Love that movie.
Actually, the other day I was talking about that. I was like, I need to, because I made a mission to get like every Marvel movie, and I forget. Fuck, I have to go get Dolph Lundgren Punisher to complete my collection if I'm gonna I gotta get it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Okay, I don't know if this is considered terrible or not because people don't. I mean, the acting's always bad. So but Bloodsport, love that movie.
Yeah,
Fucking love.
I mean,
But
it's a
I
great
think,
one.
but I don't know if that's considered terrible because John V.D. can't act, so I don't know. Terrible. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go Bloodsport.
Yeah.
I don't think it's terrible. I don't think other people think it's terrible, but I think it gets reamed a lot
In
for
the
it
grand scheme of movies,
because the acting's terrible and it's
Yeah.
not great. But I'm gonna go Bloodsport. All right. Cincinnati Jeff writes. Oh no. We'll come back. Yeah, it's top 5 favorite horror movie kills. Holy fuck. God damn it, Cincinnati Jeff. That's almost impossible to answer.
all right, it's just tough, but I wrote down some.
Okay.
Jason X, freeze the face, smash on the curb.
Yes.
New movie, The Intruder, they cut the face in half.
Yes.
Bit. That's
The Saw,
fucking amazing. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Linnea Quigley getting impaled slowly on the stag's head. That was
antlers.
really cool with her titties hanging out. That was cool. One we haven't done, which you may not be aware of, Tales from the Dark Side. Which is an anthology. It's like every half hour they have a different one. And there's one where Buster Poindexter, who was the lead singer of the New York Dolls. If you may remember him from the movie Scrooged. He was the cab driver in the movie Scrooge, the ghost of Christmas past. Anyway, he's hired as a hitman by an old man to kill a cat. He's like, what the fuck is this cat's not gonna... I'm gonna kill this cat? He's like, this cat's evil. He's gonna kill you. And at the end, it's fucking amazing. The cat jumps up, climbs down his throat in this amazing display of, special effects. And also silly animatronics. But then there's also the part where he climbs out of his body and he, bursts through with blood flying everywhere. It's fucking awesome. And then the last one, I kind of already talked about it, the massacre scene in Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. That's multiple kills. Yeah.
It's just too much to handle.
Okay. Again, these are just off the top of my head. I'm right. Also, Jason X and the
Liquid
nitrogen face smash. Yes. Also, Intruder, Saw, cuts off the head. Yes, relative new. That's up there. Next, I'm gonna go with again. I'm not. There's too many things, but these are off the top of my head. Jason Goes to Hell. The tent scene where he rips I think it was a machine,
stabs
her
her
and rips her in half.
even though it's like old man Black Jason.
Yeah, it's old man, but that kill is amazing. So I'm going with that. And then similar to that, I'm going Knuckle Bones. There's also a similar scene where they're having sex on a counter, and he comes in with a spear thing, jams it right in the guy's dick, and then rips up through his dick through the girl, splits the girl in half, and kills both of them. That kill was awesome.
Yeah.
That one's up there. And then for a fun one, I'm going Terror Blood Fart Lake, where God, what was his name? Cornelius Cassius, the weird creepy guy gets shoved up Thunder Ambrosia's ass and then shit out, and then she shits out bloody bones. So I'm going with that one.
That movie's awesome.
Yeah, the movie is awesome. All right, so there you go. All right, back. Brendan Schneider writes, if If someone came up to each of you and asked you what 5 movies you say would best describe the horror genre, what would they be? Examples could be best slasher, best sci-fi, best psychological, best classical, best gore exploitation. God.
Okay, well, I'm just going to stick with what he put there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find where
best
that is.
Sci-fi horror? Well, there's not a whole lot of sci-fi horror. So you probably have to go somewhere along like Alien or Aliens.
That's exactly what I said.
Although... you could argue Jason X is sci-fi. And at that point, I kind of enjoyed Jason X more than the Alien because it's fun. Like, it's fucking fun and awesome.
I said Alien, not Aliens, because Aliens is more of a action movie. Alien is a horror movie in space. It really is. It's a monster in space. It's creepy. It's atmospheric. It was well done. 40 years old now.
Yeah.
Still a great movie. Best slasher, I want to say Halloween because it wasn't the very first slasher, but it set the standard.
It basically gave birth to the genre.
It wasn't the very first one, but it set the standard of what is a great... And it's so atmospheric and so good, and the score is amazing. I love it. Best psychological horror, currently, I'm going to say Hereditary. That was a mindfuck. Or Midsummer, but I'm going to go Hereditary. That one was the one that was like, Jesus fucking Christ. There was some weird shit in that one. Best classic horror... I'm a Dracula guy. I like Dracula. I was close with Frankenstein.
Well, that's the thing. What are we considering classic? I mean,
and that's a good question.
Some people classic. Friday the 13th is classic. Now,
sure, Halloween could be classic.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Are we talking black and white Universal movie?
I'm going back there because that's what I consider a classic. So I'm going to go with Dracula on that one. Best gore exploitation, Dead Alive. My favorite, fucking gory, crazy, Peter Jackson directed, insano, gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of blood. Just bonkers crazy. Dead Alive.
Yeah, for me, okay, slasher. Yeah, I'm probably Halloween or maybe. Yeah, fuck, I'll say Halloween. Sci-fi horror. It's got Alien or honestly Jason X for me. I'm considering that sci-fi, and I love that movie. It's so much fun. Psychological horror. Honestly, I don't have one of those. I cannot think of anything off the top of my head that I consider a great psychological horror movie. That's my fault. I don't have anything. Classic horror. Yeah, I guess you kind of have to go with one of the Dracula movies, whether it's or it's the old original Boris. Was it Boris Karloff?
No, it's Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi. Thank you. Boris Karloff was Frankenstein. Or do you maybe like Shadow Dracula, like maybe a Christopher Lee Dracula? There's a lot of those.
The Hammer films.
The Hammer films had a lot of good Dracula ones. Best gore exploitation. Although, Family Opera, I love that, but I don't know if that's considered horror anymore.
I'd throw them in there.
I don't
Absolutely.
know, but the
more dramatic horror,
old Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
One.
The classic looking.
Yeah. Best gore exploitation. Yeah. It's hard to argue with Dead Alive, man. The gore, that's insane, but I know it's not as much, but I keep going back. Intruder blew me away, man.
Yeah.
Some of those kills, Greg Nicotero blew out all the stuff from that, man.
Great effects, but I mean, we're talking about exploitive gore.
Exploitation is different, but probably Dead Alive, I guess.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
I haven't seen it in a while, but god damn.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I know that movie's just over the top with that. All right, so then we move on. Milo Pantone again. What horror movie has honestly disturbed you in your adult years? You know, a movie that made you feel weird or got stuck in your head for a few days.
Midsummer, Hereditary, but one that we've done on the show, and oddly enough, I think it was kind of strange. Street Trash. Street Trash was kind of stuck. I was like, because it wasn't really a horror movie so much as it was just a fucking weird ass movie.
Yeah.
And there's that scene where the bums rape that woman and drag her away and kill her. I'm like, god damn, that's dark. And then you find the fat guy who owns the junkyard. He finds her dead body. And he's like, yeah,
I'm gonna fuck her now too.
I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And like the king of the bums, Bronson, his whole thing, it's like this PTSD guy. It's like, there's some weird shit that made me feel like I need to take a shower after watching this.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, I'm going to say, honestly, just recently, like just this last week, because I was trying to find the movie we're going to do next after this. And I was watching a movie, and I still haven't decided if we're going to do it on a show or not, but I might not do it because I don't think I could sit through it again. And it's a terrible movie, but it's called Cannibal Ferox, or Ferox. It's Ferox, however that's pronounced. Ferox. I don't know how Cannibal Ferox. It's a movie from the 70s. It's supposed to be these shocking movies, like, it'll shock the senses and blah, blah, blah. kind of along the lines of Dr. Holocaust or
Sure.
what that one we did, Zombie Holocaust. I'm sorry.
Dr. Butcher.
Dr. Butcher, Zombie Holocaust. Yeah. And the only reason I say that it wasn't the cannibalistic kills at the end that finally. No, this was a movie that was made pre-organizations like PETA.
Oh, do they kill animals and stuff?
They show you actual animals being killed. And that made me like, no. There's
it's like
a scene
Cannibal Holocaust, the turtle scene. That's a pretty classic, well-known one.
there's another turtle scene in this one where it's like, there's one I hate snakes as it is. But there's a scene where I forget what kind of mammal it is, but they have it tied up to a stake as bait, and they just show an anaconda come up, kill this thing, and eat it, and they show it on screen. Like, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And then they show some butchering a turtle and an alligator, and like all these and they cutting the head off a turtle and ripping it apart. Like, I don't need to see that. That's not horror to me. That's shock. I give it. That disturbs me because I'm a softie for animals. I love animals, and I literally closed my eyes. I put my hand I turned away from the screen. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
This is sick. But give me a girl gutting, ripping out some girl's intestines and splitting her head. I'll watch that all day. We're fucking sick, because we know that's fake and it's unfun. This was real.
Yeah.
They really just had that was just to kill them.
Yeah.
We're gonna murder these animals on film for entertainment.
Yeah.
That made me sick.
Yeah.
So that one right there. That's probably why we will never do that movie on the show because I cannot support that ever. All right. So Mark Giedemann, thank you. Out of all the foreign horror, which country gives you the biggest thrills? Bonus, who is the catcher? Okay, we'll come back to that one in a second. Which favorite foreign movies?
It's going to be the Hammer films for me. The British Hammer films. Those are the ones that really got me excited about Dracula again. Christopher Lee fucking nailed it. Did a great job. Peter Cushing did really good. Even when Peter Cushing was Dr. Frankenstein, also in the Frankenstein movies. I watched a lot of those. They were fucking great. I know Mark, and he's very influenced by Japanese horror and Japanese stuff. I never really watched too much Japanese stuff. I know Ringu and The Grudge was originally from Japanese horror. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's just I like it. I appreciate it for what it is, but I don't know if that's what he's going towards. But foreign, it's the British Hammer films.
This goes back to when we talk about genres Japanese really kind of were the forefront, when they all came over and the Japanese horror invasion. Again, that was the PG-13 paranormal. The Ring, The Grudge, all
Paranormal Activity, which influenced.
And those were great movies. They were freaky and scary at the time. I would give them that, but I was But I hated the fact that everything they kind of started this whole movement. I don't know, but I will say the original Ring and the original Grudge. Well, I can't say the original because I never saw the actual Japanese versions, but the American versions. I give it respect for because they were creepy, they were scary, they freaked people out, so that you get your thrills from there. But those are the only two I can say I know of Japanese. Yeah. So otherwise, we've seen a lot of British independent movies.
And there's the Italian cannibal, of zombies.
But just the Italian,
the Giallo movies.
Yeah, but even just Italian horror alone, Dario Argento and Felucci.
Yeah.
They're more slash.
Apparently I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, who knows? I know
because I've been saying Felucci forever, and I'm listening to other podcasts, and they're saying Felici. I must be mispronouncing. We know who we're talking about.
I always said Felucci too.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's been some fun, good ones that come that have been more slashers that have been good that I've enjoyed. Not that I'm saying I've seen all of them.
Yeah. Zombie.
Canada's throwing out some really good. I don't know if technically it's not American, so is that foreign? Canada's had some good horror movies, especially in the indies. We've had some luck there, but so I'll probably say Canada as where that is, and maybe Italy. I think have the most have come out. All right. And the second part of the question is, who is the catcher and the pitcher of the podcast? You know what I mean. Well, I will take that one. Obviously, I am the pitcher, and Aaron is the catcher on the podcast. Outside the podcast. Probably not. Probably not. Probably the other way around on that one. But when it comes to podcasts, I'm definitely the pitcher. He's the catcher.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. Brandon Schneider, if you could take one of the movies you reviewed, and erase it from existence for being so horrible, which one would you pick? Good God, that's a lot. There's a lot. Off the top of my head, Lake Fear 3, No Mercy are probably the top two. I would think, right
Yeah.
there. I mean, there's probably some others, but No Mercy and Lake Fear 3 are probably the two worst.
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
And maybe Death House, just because that was the biggest disappointment in the world.
Seed's Revenge.
Okay, there you go. Brandon Schneider, he's got like 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 in a row. Okay, got another quick question here. Do you prefer older horror movies or new ones, like from the 60s and 80s or 90s to present? I don't like the 60s and 70s stuff. There's some weird shit in there. Again, 80s, definitely the 80s. So I guess I go older then. Anything with the 80s right now, I'm all on board with. Unless it's like newer stuff has got to be indie, because a lot of the modern newer horrors are all big budget stuff that hasn't been too great. The big blockbuster studio stuff, but so indies for modern, but older for bigger stuff. Yeah. So there you go. Also, do you prefer older good movies or newer good movies? I don't know. A good movie is a good movie. It doesn't matter where. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. So I don't break it down by that. Another one from Brent Schneider's wife. If you could be best friends with any horror character, killers, and of such, who would it be? Which would it be? Favorite if you could be friends with somebody?
I think it'd be Dracula, because he's probably not going to be as horny for me, or like just not really. He's more seductive. And if it's true buddies, like we're just like, hey, we're hanging out, like I'm not worried about him killing me.
Yeah,
he's got a cool place. He's got like interesting stuff. He's got classical stuff. He's got wealth accumulated.
Yeah,
that'd be the type of guy I want to hang out with.
Yeah, I think I definitely probably have to go with Dracula too. I mean, for time's sake, I would say Dracula, because you're right. I mean, he's eternal. He's racked up some serious wealth. He's got a castle. Guy's gonna be loaded. He's always got hot girls around him. I mean, think about that. He's always got like his harem, and hook you up with that. Yeah, if he's buddy, he's not gonna. Okay. But hold on a second. Okay. Next from Brandon Schneider too. If you had the budget to make your own horror movie, what would the storyline be like, and what genre of horror would it be? Well, funny to think of it, because Aaron, a while ago, he talked about making a horror movie called Chess Club Massacre.
Yeah.
So honestly, I would definitely make a slasher.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most fun and easy to make.
Yeah, Chess Club Massacre, St. Louis is the Chess Club Hall of Fame.
Yes, it is.
Of the world. We're talking World Chess Club Hall of Fame. Like, it's the World Chess Hall of Fame. So, you have this, if you had an online group of people playing chess, and they decided to come to St. Louis, my hometown, and, do you could have like all these people who play online together, do a tour, but someone's a little ousted, and they could be the red herring, and you could have great kills, and you can still feature parts of St. Louis. That would be what I would do.
Yeah, I thought about taking it up a notch and making it more goofy, more like Terror Blood Fart Lake-esque, just because we're not going to make anything good, so you might as well make it schlocky, fun, and it'd be still a chess club, but it would be chest club, and it would be nothing but buxom, hot, big titty girls who play chess, and the killer would be like, and make the killer like chess thing, like you call him like the rook or something, not like the knight, or maybe the bishop or something, but not like the black knight. That's too obvious. But and like every time he'd kill somebody, he'd like maybe leave a chess piece, or he'd do it. Like, and you have to,
we talked about.
You have to have like some kind of like chess terminology, like, oh, he's pulling the old chess maneuver of this, and you have to think like, but like
Bobby Fischer 3-move kill,
or something like that, and like and like you'd have like the geeky hot girl with the glass, like the Velma, if you will, and then you have like the slutty and this that. So I thought it'd be something like that. That'd be fun. All right, from Josh Coleman. When you have to watch a movie that you know is going to be absolutely terrible, what's your drink of choice to get through it?
Depends on the movie. If it's if it's something a little bit more refined, like if it was Candyman, I'd want a glass of red wine. If it was Terror Blood Fart Lake, I want Busch Light. It all depends on the movie.
Terror Blood Fart Lake is more like a Hams Olympica level beer.
Yeah.
But my drink of choice a lot of times. Really, beer is an easy one I handle. If I'm going to go with something low, if I'm going to go to the bar, get the actual liquor out, then I'm going to go like, again, quick and easy, like 7.7s, or maybe just a scotch straight up or something like that. All right, so Josh Coleman also writes, can PG-13 horror be competitive with R-rated horror?
It can.
I disagree.
It can, but it's tough. I mean, Ring was PG-13. That's a great horror movie.
Yeah.
It can be done, but I think it's just tough.
I think it's very, very tough. In mass market, I mean, like you look at Ring and Grudge, I think we're PG-13.
Halloween by today.
Paranormal Activity is PG-13, but they're also, in my opinion, they're considered weak horror movies. Like if you're talking like Friday the 13th, your slashers, your mutilator, your intruder. I say no. I say no. In the long run.
Halloween, by today's standards, would be PG-13 if it wasn't for the F-bombs.
Well, there is nudity and a sex scene in it. Well, not sex, but you see nudity
see
in
titties.
it.
That's true. Okay.
All right, so these last ones, we're going to try to do rapid fire as well. These are from friend of the show, Nachos McWare, if he sent these in. First one, what is the origin of Horrible Horror? Well, we've told this story many times that Aaron and I... I'll do it. I'll wrap it up quickly. We used every Halloween we'd get together. Me and Aaron, our group of friends, would get together at my place, and we'd go every night. We'd go to as many haunted houses as we could in one night, and then afterwards we'd go back to my place. And earlier that day, I would have raided the video store and gotten as many weird ass horror movies I could find. But because it's Halloween, all the good stuff's gone. So I found all this weird ass shit, and we'd watch that. We'd stay up all night watching these horror movies, and that's where my love of bad horror movies came from. So. About 5 years ago, I'm watching more bad horror movies. Like, holy shit, this movie's terrible. We have to talk about this. Like, and then it's like, hey, podcasts were starting to become a thing, and it could actually be doable. So that's where it came from. I actually was watching the movie Carver, the old Carver before they get remade and released. It actually where it's good now. It was terrible, and I was watching that when Aaron came over, and we were ribbing on that where the girl kills herself at the end, even though she's like, dude, you lived, you were right there, you lived, you survived, and then she killed herself, and we were just riffing on that for a while, and that's where it started. All right, so what would you say is the worst movie you've ever reviewed? Again, I go No Mercy or Lake Fear 3.
Seed's Revenge.
Seed's Revenge for you. Is that worse for you than No Mercy was? No Mercy?
No Mercy was really bad. That's a good point. But
even the last Slumber Party too was another terrible one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Death House is also up there. If you could make a sequel to any standalone horror movie, what would you guys choose?
Say what?
If we could make a sequel to any standalone horror movie, what would we choose?
So I'd like to do a recent horror movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, the one I was talking about. I would actually like to see a prequel to that one. That one is a story where, these guys are doing this autopsy.
Yeah, but he asked for a sequel, Aaron. You're changing the rules.
Fine. I'm going to change it. I can do what I want. But I'd like to see like the origin of the witch, of the character, of the patient, or the Jane Doe, if you will.
Okay. For me, a sequel to any standalone horror movie. Fuck. I'll say it again. I'll say Knucklebones again because as far as we know, it's still a standalone, and that I think it had franchise potential all over it. Next, moving on. Does pineapple belong on the pizza? Fuck no, it does not.
No, but nope. I don't. If you want it on there, sure, but no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Would you guys like to take? Who would you guys like to the Bone Zone? Ginger or Marianne?
Marianne. Ginger was the movie star. She was a little more high class. Ginger, she was kind of the farm girl type, but she's got a big butt. So yeah.
I don't know. I think Ginger might have had that secret freakiness underneath her. She's a movie star. She's all prissy in person, but I think she might have had some freak down there. Top 5 movies you guys have ever reviewed. So our top 5 movies that we've done on the show. God damn it. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I mean, again, lately I'll say Intruder because that was actually a good one. That was a lot of fun.
Did I have this written down? Let me see.
And maybe Death Spa. So I would do Death Spa and / Killer Workout, Aerobicide, and one because they're kind of the same movie, and they're both awesome to do on the show.
I'll tell you my favorite episodes was like...
that's the thing. I'm trying. Am I doing the movie or am I doing the episode? Because
Humanoids from the Deep, Death Spa, Swamp Ape.
Oh God, Swamp Ape. There's my sequel right there. Swamp Ape. What happens when they fall off that canoe?
A Muck Train, and Night of Something Strange.
Okay, yeah, a Muck Train, Swamp Ape, Death Spa, Killer Workout. Yeah, I think those are probably also my favorite top ones. Trapdoor was one of my
that was a good episode.
That was a good episode. Yeah, there you go. 7. What are your personal top 10 kills from the podcast? No particular. Okay, we already covered most of our top kills, Nacho. So we're gonna. And for the sake of time, we're gonna. I don't think we. Is there any other kills you want to throw in there?
We've talked about a lot of kills.
Yeah, I think you can always throw in the Jason sleeping bag kills. The Amok Train had some crazy ones. With a train how a train chops off heads. I don't know, but that's crazy. Hey, what podcast do we listen to?
Yeah, so I got
I listen to How Did This Get Made? I listen to I still listen to Talk Is Jericho. I listen to Not Sam Wrestling. I listen to Nerd Poker, Critical Role podcast. I listen to Chris Hardwick's ID10 IT or Idiot podcast. And then I listen to. I used to listen to the Horror Show, but they quit. They turned it in, so I stopped that. And then I've listened to a few episodes here and there of a few other horror podcasts. But honestly, my podcast time has gotten really, again, because I'm with my daughter all the time.
Well,
gotten cut down.
at work, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to a lot of horror podcasts. I listen to Here Comes the Spooky.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was letting you have that
I listen
one.
to Here Comes Spooky. I listen to another horror podcast. These guys out in North Carolina, the Spook House podcast. I like them. They're friends at Night Shift Video, which was
Eek Channel, right?
Eek Channel. Yeah, they changed their name right when we had an interview with them. They changed their name to Night Shift Video. It's like, come on, guys. Also, I listen to Customers Also Watch. That one's kind of cool. It's this chick that who lives out in Los Angeles, and she is a horror genius. I mean, she's a very well-educated horror fan. Very, very well-educated horror fan. But what she does is she started off with a movie. I forget what the first one was. But she watched the movie, and then on Amazon, it has to be Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it says viewers.
Viewers always will watch. So she has to pick one, watch it. Just based, if she's already seen it, she won't pick it. And it's just based on the description, and she'll pick that, and then do a breakdown like we do. And then
I won't
go
lie.
on.
That's a lot of times. That's how we get some of the
Yeah.
our movies. Because ones are like, oh, add this to my list. Add this to my list.
But it's pretty cool. She did The Killer Eye.
Oh, yeah?
She found that one, and she's like, ugh. But she also does this episodes with one of her friends who's never seen any horror movies. She's this gal who's just never. She grew up like very Disney and very protected, and she's like, all right, watch all these nightmare movies, watch all these Hellraiser movies. And then she breaks them down. It's a lot of fun. But I also listen to the Horror Basement. That's the guys we met in Tennessee. Like Yeti and those other guys. Those guys are pretty cool. Listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to news.
I know you listen to Joe Rogan.
I listen to a lot of MMA podcasts. Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I just started.
Yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah, I just started that one.
And Hardcore History. So
The two others I subscribe. I haven't started listing them yet, but I added them to my list. Was In Bed with Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally.
nice.
And I forget what it's called, but it's like the Office recap, which with Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsley, where they basically sit around, they take each episode of The Office and they tell like their sort
Fun
of
little things
of,
about
that, of
it.
the making of that episode and
Cool.
talk about it. So there's our podcast. Who wins in a fight, Jason from Friday the 13th 7 or Maniac Cop from Maniac Cop 2?
Jason.
I say Jason.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with Jason. Who are your top 5 favorite X-Men heroes / villains? This is a fun one. Top 5 X-Men for me: Rogue, Magneto. I'm gonna say Phoenix / Dark Phoenix because she not just Jean Grey, but Phoenix / Dark Phoenix. You gotta go Wolverine. And then probably a tie in there for, I'm going to throw in Nightcrawler or Colossus, were my favorites as a kid.
Yeah. Me, it's Wolverine, number one. I was a huge Wolverine fan. Gigantic.
Everybody is. So you can't have him not on the list.
Colossus, he's the heart of the X-Men. He's just like always been the good guy. Beast, he's a brains. He's got a tragic story. Dazzler.
Yeah.
I like Dazzler
Love
because she's
Dazzler.
kind of cool. And
Yeah.
like Jubilee's like a shitty version of Dazzler.
Yeah, it kind of is.
And Longshot. I like Longshot too.
Long shots. There were some really good ones like that you could leave off Long Shot, Dazzler were good ones. A lot of people love Gambit, but I didn't really get on the Gambit train too early.
I was close with Gambit.
You were close. You were very close.
I was almost put him on this list.
Yeah. Archangel was cool. Not Angel, but Archangel was cool. Psylocke was.
She almost made the list
Yeah.
too.
Aaron had a big old teenage boner for Psylocke.
Yes, I did. Maybe that explained my Asian fetish in high school.
Yeah, I think it did explain your Asian fetish in high school. Okay.
Villains.
Well, it's who are okay villains. Magneto bored both those,
Yeah.
but villains. Well, again, Magneto.
So I did Magneto, Apocalypse, Arcade. I liked Arcade because
Arcade was always fun.
because those comics were awesome.
Who would want you're in a fucking fun world like Six Flags turned dark and you had a giant pinball machine.
It was awesome.
Those I loved Arcade.
So I always loved him. Juggernaut, of course,
Juggernaut,
and William Stryker and his cult of followers who were like to wipe. It's a little bit more modern.
I can't remember if they were the Templars or they were somebody else.
Yeah, to wipe clean the unpure.
Purifiers.
Yeah, the purifiers, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Magneto, Juggernaut, Apocalypse was a good one.
Yeah.
Arcade is fun. Mr. Sinister. But a classic X-Men villain, like their villains, I mean, the Sentinels were always a good go-to.
Yeah.
The Hellfire Club was always interesting, but so Emma Frost in there. And another one that brings it back to your Dazzler Longshot, Mojo was a wacky fucking villain. That was a weird Mojo. We got Mojo involved. There's weird shit about to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. If you could throw the Scooby-Doo gang into any slasher movie, which one would you choose and who would survive? I would throw them. I think they would do well in like a Friday 13th. Like I like them out in like the camp. Out in a spring camp.
Zoink.
Zoink. Fucking Shaggy and Scooby dead right away. Fuck them. Because the stoner always dies. And Scooby, yeah, even though he's basically more stoner than anything, so he dies. Or the nerdy guy, because the nerd always dies. Fred dies. So honestly, your final is either Velma or Daphne. And unfortunately, stereotypically, both of them die. Velma would be kind of Sly Girl. No. I always forget, which one's the glasses? The nerdy girl.
Velma.
The nerdy girl always dies, and the Sly Girl guy dies. So they all die. But if I had my pick, I would say the girl with glasses.
Oh, Velma.
Girl with glasses would probably live because she was the smart one who used her brains to get out of situations, and I think she would figure out a way to get out.
Okay, so I want to put them in like a Saw situation.
Ooh, yeah, I love it.
Where they have to choose.
They have to go against each other. Love that.
Yes.
Love that. Again, I think that.
And I would go Fred, because I think Velma still had a little bit more of a hard goal. I think Fred's could be a little bit of a shit bag. He might be the one who makes it.
He'd probably throw her under the bus. Like, I love you, but you're dead. I'm living.
It's like smart girl goes first. I got to get her out of the way. Yeah. So I like to put him in a Saw type situation.
I love that. I love both those theories. That's great. All right. Is Freddy a kid fucker? Yes.
No. He did not. He was a child murderer, but they never said he was a child fucker.
But wasn't it implied?
In the remake, they beat you about the head and shoulders that he was a kid fucker.
Okay, so in the remake, yes. In the originals, I guess maybe not.
No.
Oh, top 5 kills. I forgot about that one. I'll go back to add the kills real quick. The Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. The marionette where he's got the marionette veins coming. That one traumatized me as a kid. That was crazy. And you see Freddy in the clouds above him working. And then, was it 5? Yeah, it's 5, where he morphs into the motorcycle. And those were 2 awesome kills too. Okay, moving on. Which of your guests have been on the podcast the most? Chris Samples, I think.
Yeah.
Without Chris,
without
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, he's family.
Yeah. Which horror movie classic would you remake, and who would you have direct it?
Okay, I had Frankenstein, movie classic, and I'm probably gonna butcher his name, Taiki Waititi.
The Thor guy.
Yeah, the guy who did Thor Ragnarok. That would be fucking cool. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I saw something on Facebook about this guy directing a horror movie.
They're talking about him doing a Star Wars movie.
Oh, that's what was Star Wars. Yeah, not horror. It was a Star Wars movie. Yeah. Again, it depends on what we're going. Are we going classic, black and white classic? Or are we talking like again Friday 13th classic? Like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. This would be a weird. I don't know if they'd be too similar or not, but a John Carpenter or Jason movie, like Freddy. Is that too similar? But if John Carpenter did a Friday the 13th,
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Or we want to go really far out of the box, like we talking like Michael Bay doing a fucking Hellraiser movie or something, like just explosions everywhere and no content. I mean, I don't know.
Just Cenobites going nuts.
Yeah. Peter Jackson, he's done a little bit of horror.
He's done The Frighteners and Dead Alive.
Yeah, and Meet the Feebles, which is a whole other type of horror. Yeah, terrifying in its own way. And oh god, there was another weird one with alien. I forget what it was called. Fuck, it was like a New Zealand movie.
Bad Taste.
Bad Taste. Thank you. Yes, Bad Taste.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then last question, the very last question. Are the Here Comes the Spooky Guys as awesome as they sound? No. No, they are not.
All right. In all fairness, they're fun guys. I like them.
Eric's awesome. Eric's cool, but that fucking Nachos guy. He gets. Oh god, he can be a bit hard to fucking handle.
Man, he's
a little too far. Yeah.
I thought Short Bus was for kids. Might need it for this guy. He's in his 30s. We love you, Nachos.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's all the questions. Everybody, you sent it in. You got answered. Hope that was fun for you guys. I know
we started going a little fast towards the end.
Because this went a lot longer than I thought it would. I thought we had to wrap this up a lot sooner, but we promised we'd answer every question, and we did. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. We might do this again in the future if you guys enjoyed it, or if it's something that gets a good response. So, but again, thank you very much.
Thank you for everyone who submitted a question.
That means you're listeners. You know the show. You love the show. We love you. Thank you so much. Keep listening. We're gonna keep bringing you the show. Until then, guys, you know the deal. Watch more horror movies, and remember to always keep it tight.
Tight.